What's up, everyone? Welcome to Grinders Live here at Rotogrinders.com. I am Stevie TPFL, and as we figured out about 15 seconds ago, I'm hosting today. I'm joined by my good buddy, Genie for 07. Grant, now that the day has kind of come and gone, we get to talk morning grind in the afternoon and live and have some fun with the YouTube chat. What's up, YouTube chat? How's it going, Grant?
Oh, just fine and dandy, hanging out here in Santa Monica. Life is good.
Santa Monica. I like Santa Monica. I've been to Santa Monica a couple times.
Yeah, it's been. This is the first time back in California, a year and a half. Santa Monica is nice, but there's like 20 mile per hour winds outside, so just afraid a palm tree is going to follow me.
That would not be fun for disc golf. 20 to 25 mile an hour winds stinks for disc golf. So, as always, we are live on YouTube. Make sure you guys smash the like button. We will have free crunch time presented by playbigbrain.com right after us. So we're just going to let them come in, finish out the show with them, and then they're going to hop on and do free crunch time for you guys. So make sure you guys are checking out playbigbrain.com. It's a hybrid HQ trivia and DFS type game. Matching deposit bonus up to $50. No code necessary. And tonight's topic is the NBA. All right. That's all I got. Oh, RG Premium. Don't forget about that. Use the promo code in the description that Devin's about to drop over there in chat. $10 off your first month of either combo or single sport. We have single sports now. Outside of NASCAR, you get everything in combo, though. So make sure you guys are taking advantage of that. MMA, basketball, baseball, all that great stuff. So, all right, Grant, I'm done being a company man for at least 5 minutes. We have a 15-game slate, and we're going to start with pitching. So let's get started here. We got Trevor Bauer at the top, Aaron Nola, Tyler Glasnow, Ian Anderson, Alex Wood, all 5 pitchers over 10K. What are we looking at here as far as these 5 guys go?
I mean, I think that they're all very, very viable. I mean, it's a slate that's big enough where the only guy that's really going to be over-owned is going to be Bauer. Bauer grades out as one of the best plays, probably the best raw points play on the entire slate. He's going up against the Giants, who are a pretty solid offense. But Bauer is just a beast. He'll be able to go 110 pitches in the game. He's fantastic. He's got great K stuff. He's Trevor Bauer and stats. Like, he's the top overall player in the slate, but he's going to be owned as such. And there's no guarantee that he's going to end up with that 30-point outing. So I'm kind of like, I'll probably be under the field. Right, as of right now, I'm rolling out 3 lineups. I got Bauer in 1. I'm probably going to end up with Bauer in 0 because I think there's just better plays up at the top. Nola, probably not a guy I'll end up going with. He's just too expensive. Glasnow is going to still have 22% ownership. Going up against Toronto, playing over in that ballpark that's pretty solid for hitting. Just a neutral umpire. It kind of makes me not really want to play him. So to me, it's Anderson, it's Wood, and it's Rodon. I think are my 3 favorite spend-ups. So Anderson going up against Pittsburgh, it's just an absolutely terrible line. He hasn't put up a huge outing pretty much all year long. And Now he gets a matchup versus Pittsburgh with just this terrible lineup here, and he's got great K stuff. He can get a little bit wild. He can walk some guys. He can do all sorts of stuff, and so I am willing to just take the little bit of volatility here and kind of go with him. So hope that he doesn't get too wild because there's really not a ton of walks in this lineup. A lot of guys just really aren't patient at all. And it's a solid overall matchup. Next up, we got Wood. The Dodgers are not the same Dodgers there were last year. Like, do you know where they rank in terms of strikeouts in the league versus lefties?
Third.
Close. Sixth.
Close. I knew it was going to be high because you proposed the question, so I knew it was going to be high.
Yes, I primed you for that answer, but yeah, no, like they are just not great this year. I mean, this lineup is just super banged up. It's really not the same Dodgers lineup we've seen. We've seen this line kind of move towards San Francisco more and more, and I mean, it's pretty close to a toss-up game, and it's Bauer versus Wood. Yes, Bauer can go a little bit later in the game, but Alex Wood, I think, just pitched 110 pitches the other day. Like the Giants are in a great spot in the standings. They are, I think, still in first. They got a real legitimate shot at the playoffs. They're trying to play their guys, and they know that Alex Wood is one of the best pitchers in the entire league. Like he's been absolutely outstanding so far this season. And outside of his first matchup where he only ended up going 65 pitches, he's been hitting that mark. The 7 strikeout mark pretty darn consistently. Doesn't walk a ton of guys, which is the biggest worry with the Dodgers. They're below average in every single hitting category versus lefties outside of walks, which they've just been walking at a huge clip. They're due for some negative regression. And Wood is a guy with pretty darn good control. So I'd say Wood and then Rodon against the Yankees are my 2 favorite pitchers on the entire slate to pay up for.
I mean, Trevor Bauer is the best pitcher on the slate. I don't want to say that he's not, but in tournaments, Trevor Bauer at 12K on a 15-game slate is going to need a lights out performance at the highest projected ownership. I just struggle playing him. I'm only playing 3 teams as well today. So you got the 3-entry max crew today. If you're playing 150 teams, you could play 20% Bauer, be 20% underweight on the field. And if he does have that stellar game, be great. If he doesn't, still be enough, leverage on the field. So he's the best pitcher on the slate. It's good hitting weather in the Boston game. So I'm going to pass on Nola. I'm with you. Glass now scares me. The ballpark scares me. That ballpark is so hitter friendly. It scares me. That game has a 9 total.
Also looks like they have a hitter ump.
Yeah, which also scares me. So, I mean, I like Ian Anderson a lot. I love the ownership on him. He projects as one of the best pitchers on the slate today. So I like Ian Anderson a lot. Don't mind Alex Wood. Don't mind Carlos Rodon. I mean, kind of going in this next range, you got Martin Perez against Philly in good hitting weather. I'm going to pass. Marcus Stroman against the Marlins. Not going to be chalk. We talked about it this morning, and we were like, is he going to be chalky? Well, Chris Paddock and Steven Strasberg and Mike Minor are kind of getting that SP2 ownership on this slate.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm a silly goose. So Paddock is one of the guys I'm going to use a decent amount of. He's going up against Seattle. Seattle is not the greatest lineup in the world. They've given up some pretty big outings to guys recently. Paddock has not been the same pitcher we've seen in the past. He doesn't have the longest leash in the world, but really doesn't matter. He's still got solid overall stuff. This is a solid overall K matchup. He's an above average pitcher, even if it's just slightly at the moment. And 8.6K is probably not high enough of a price tag for him. Strasburg, have we gotten news on his pitch count yet?
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, so I'm still slightly worried about how much they're going to baby him. It's a good matchup going up against Baltimore. Strasburg was pretty darn good his first matchup this year, and then obviously got injured, got put on the IL right afterwards, and his second matchup was real wild. No guarantee that he's going to come in with the same strikeout stuff that we've seen from him in the past, and no guarantee that he's going to come in with the same control that we've seen from him in the past. Baltimore isn't the highest strikeout lineup in the league. They're pretty much league average. Granted, they're going to have the pitcher batting, which is going to be an upgrade for them. But Jorge Lopez probably isn't going to go late enough into the game where they could be using a decent amount of bullpen arms and just rotating in guys off the bench to pitch hit. So to me, Strasburg, the fact that he's going to be close to 20% ownership, I'm kind of out on him. But Mike Minor is a guy that I think I'm going to lock in on this slate. He's 7.5K. He's going up against Detroit. Detroit has a 33% K rate versus lefties this season, a 39 or 50, somewhere between 39 and 50. I can't remember off the top of my head. WRC plus this season versus lefties. It's by far the lowest in the league. The next closest team is at 72. They're at 58. So they are just terrible versus lefties. They're terrible versus righties. They're terrible lineup. And yes, they've been hitting the ball better recently. I really don't care. Minor's still a guy that they'll let pitch a little bit deep into games. He's getting up there in age, but it doesn't matter. His stuff is still good enough. He has good K stuff. He gives up a decent amount of fly balls, but I'm really not worried about that. What you have to worry about with Detroit is them just hitting doubles and singles pretty much and just getting you there in terms of BABIP. They'll every once in a while string together just enough hits to put up a decent outing and do some damage to an opposing pitcher. But Minor is a solid enough guy where if they're not going to be hitting out of the ballpark, an extreme fly ball pitcher going up against them is going to be a pretty solid outing. I mean, the only guy that has there's two guys in the lineup with over a 40% hard contact rate versus lefties this season. It's Ramos and it's Haas. And that's a 9 and a 23 plate appearance sample size. This is not a team that hits the ball very hard. This is not a team that's going to end up with home runs. If they're going to get to him, it's going to be because of BABIP, and I'm willing just to let it roll with Minor, knowing that this is the best K matchup on the entire board, and he's an above-average strikeout pitcher.
All right, just going back to Paddock first. I mean, Seattle has the highest implied total on the slate. They're at like 2.9 runs or something like that. So I think Paddock's going to get pretty good ownership. Steven Strasberg, like we talked about last night, 75 pitches in his rehab start or bullpen, whatever he threw the other day. I would assume that we see like 75 to 85 pitches for Strasberg. For that reason, on a 15-game slate, I'll probably pass. Montgomery against a tough White Sox team, pass. I mean, Nelson Cruz getting scratched right before we started definitely makes me want to like McKenzie more again. Just kind of looking at this Minnesota lineup, it's not the best lineup today. No Cruz. I mean, you're really just worried about a couple guys. I think McKenzie's interesting for tournaments. He's a big strikeout guy, boom bust type play at 5% owned compared to Minor at 25%. So I think McKenzie's an interesting tournament pivot. Mike Minor's obviously in a great spot. Kyle Hendricks is not a bad play either. He's just not as high ceiling. Let's go to the bottom of the barrel here. Is there anybody
for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
We currently have it'll probably go up from 2% a little bit. It might have already updated and I just haven't refreshed my page. But yeah, he's going to be so underowned. And we never know if McKenzie's going to end up having an outing where he actually kind of gets his control together. But he's got a 31% K rate on the season. Like if he's pitching well, Cleveland will let him pitch deep into that game. He can end up with a massive outing. You're right that this lineup really just isn't very good. It doesn't have a ton of lefties. They got 3 lefties in the lineup, most of which do not walk outside of Arias. This is just a perfect spot for him to get him at low ownership. I mean, Sano, he's either going to walk or strike out pretty much every single time at the plate. He could end up striking out by McKenzie 3 times in the spot here. Like Garver is a big strikeout guy. This is a good spot for him overall. And yeah, he's going to come in at 0 ownership. This is a 15-game slate. Ownership spread all over the place, so it's not as much of a worry, but there's a legit chance that McKenzie ends up with 30 points in the spot. So I really, really like him on this slate.
Extreme pitchers umpire in that game too.
That is big. It's super helpful. Big.
Yeah, it's helpful for sure. All right, let's get under 7K. Is there anybody in this under 7K range, value type pitchers that you're looking at on this slate?
I mean, not really. You can take a shot on Quintana. He's been striking out a lot of guys, but not a guy I want to use. I know that you're on the Oakland guy. I don't think I'm going there. Just not really. I get Dobnak's going to be 14% owned. He's only 4K. But not a guy that I want to use. I'm honestly a lot more interested in stacking up Cleveland than I am playing Dobnak. You can, instead of just playing Bauer, you can go with McKenzie and Minor. You can go with 14, 15K at the pitching position, still stack up Coors. This is not a hard thing to do. And so I plan on just rolling with the mid tier and then Alex Wood and Rodon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I have 4 pitchers on this entire slate.
Yeah, I mean, I expect the Angels lineup to be really weak. The bottom of the order is going to be like Fletcher, Suzuki, Ward, Rojas type of lineup. So I think if Kaplerman can beat Ohtani, Rendon, and Walsh, I mean, I think he has really solid strikeout upside at 6,100. So I definitely like him. And I mean, I don't hate playing pitchers against Texas, and like there's an extreme pitchers umpire in that game. And I mean, Tyler Ivey's like super cheap. It's just how we don't expect him to pitch too deep, though, right? Like that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean,
It sounds like it's going to be a bullpen game for Houston.
Yeah, I don't think he's gone past 80 pitches so far this season. I could be wrong there, and he's likely to end up in the 60s.
Well, he hasn't pitched at all, right? I'm pretty sure this is like.
Who am I thinking of?
Tyler Ivey is a young, talented pitcher.
Oh, I was thinking of the Miami guy. Yeah, Ivey. We don't know how late he's going to go into the game. He might be talented, but he's super wild. He's only gone 6.1 innings in the minors this year. I like, you never know with Houston pitchers. Like, you don't know exactly what you're going to end up getting out of them. So if you want to roll the dice with it, that's entirely fine. They seem to figure things out on a pretty consistent basis, and he's going to come in at very low ownership. But I want a little bit more upside, and the fact that I can get McKenzie close to the same ownership, I'm just going to pay up a little bit more because I really don't need the money. I'm only stacking, I think, 4 teams today, and I don't need extra money because of several of those stacks are cheap.
All right, I think that knocks out pitching. Let's go to position by position, talk about some hitters and some other spots. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys like and subscribe over there. Help us out. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up in chat. We'll answer those towards the end. Plus, crunch time free right after us. And you get to big brain it up. All right, let's talk catcher. What's standing out to you at catcher today?
I mean, not really a ton. I mean, obviously, Vogt, if he ends up getting this start, he's playing over in Coors. It's that simple. Like, I know it's a matchup versus Armand, but he's a solid overall hitter, and he's playing in Coors. He's 3.8K. He's 200 price. Same thing with Nunez, playing in Coors, going up against a bad pitcher. He's 4.3K. He's too cheap. Outside of that, Narvaez is probably my favorite play at catcher. Like, he's a solid overall hitter. He's going up against Hoffman, who's not a good major league pitcher. This is just a perfect spot for him. He's got an extreme hitter's umpire. Like, I love Milwaukee, and so you're going to hear me mention a whole lot of Milwaukee players. Milwaukee's my favorite stack on the slate, and Tavares is just an easy guy to throw on there that's cheap, that is batting in the heart of the lineup against a bad pitcher with a good umpire. He's the guy that I'm probably going to end up with the most ownership in, outside of maybe Yerman Mercedes. He's 4.6K. He's not going to draw a lot of ownership. Montgomery's had some pretty drastic splits so far this year. Montgomery just hasn't been a great overall pitcher this year. White Sox have absolutely hammered lefties this season. They're 141 WRC plus on the season versus left-handed pitching, and they're not going to draw ownership. Mercedes is one of the best pay-ups on the slate at catcher if you're going to pay up and not play Bauer.
As far as me, obviously I like cheap catchers. I think this is a day that you could pay a little bit more for catching. If you're going to go cheap, Eric Haas for Detroit is 3,100. He's batting 5th. It's a lefty righty. Obviously Mike Minor much worse against righties than he is against lefties, and you get leverage off of one of the chalkier SP2s on the slate. So I don't mind him at 3,100. Narvaez, like you said, Stephen Vogt is probably going to be the most popular catcher if he cracks the lineup. Catcher is a position that's probably going to be really spread out on this slate, just overall, because there isn't like a standout must play a catcher today. And
if Vogt's in the lineup, he probably will be.
Yeah, I could even see him being under like 15%. But yeah, Tucker Barnhart at 4,100 against Hauser. like that range, like you mentioned Nunez, that range is kind of the juicy range. If you want to pay up, Mercedes is obviously the play. But yeah, I kind of like getting leverage off of Minor with Eric Haas at 3,100. So he's someone that I'm looking at. And I love Cincy, so I like Tucker Barnhart. Going to first base. I think first base is going to be a position today that we see a lot of people pay down at because Palvin Smith and CJ Crone are both under 4K in Coors. Awesome hitting weather in Coors today. I mean, if you're playing cash games, you're probably playing Pavin Smith or CJ Crone.
Yeah, no, it's not even a question. It's most likely CJ Crone. But if you want to go Pavin Smith, I won't argue with it. Crone has a better matchup. He's a better overall hitter. He's just the top guy. Like I think Cardi has him as the top overall raw projected points first baseman on the entire slate over Otani. And he's 2K cheaper. He's 3.8K in cash games. If you're not playing Crone, you're making real bad life decisions. So I'm not playing cash today, but in tournaments, I'm still going to have a decent amount of ownership. He's just too good of a play. It's a big enough slate where he's going to be owned, but he's not going to be overly owned. And so he's the top overall first base play on the slate by an absolute mile. Outside of that, Hoskins going up against Perez. Perez is a lefty. Hoskins got the platoon split. They got a decent overall team total there. He's probably the second guy I would end up going with. It's just he's too cheap at 4.5K. Otani, if you want to take a one-off either in outfield or at first base, is not the worst idea in the world going up against a rookie pitcher. Outside of that, like I'm probably just rounding up my stack if I'm not playing Pavin Smith. It's not a spot where I really want to just take a one-off. There's too many good options on this where I can just throw them in my stack. One of the easier or harder positions, I'll end up throwing a one-off in there. But under owned guy, we currently have projected 0% ownership. I'm sure that'll update. Is Jose Abreu at 5.1K against Montgomery, crushes lefties. Absolutely fantastic play. He's in the lineup today, so I was happy to see that.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Vogelbach. You said you like Milwaukee. Vogelbach's 3.1K. He's really cheap. There's some guys like you could pivot off of CJ Crone with like Josh Bell. He's in a great spot against Lopez. Nate Lowe against the young Houston pitcher. If you want to chase like home runs with Texas bats, I mean, you're likely going to get a hard hit ball or a strikeout with those Texas bats. If you want to pay up at first base, like I think Abreu's the option. Him or Luke Voigt. Just good hitting weather, playing the platoons. But I think this is a position that a lot of people are going to be spending down on with Crone, Pavin Smith, those options that we talked about. Josh Bell even going over to second base. I mean, I expect Escobar to be pretty popular here at second base. If you're not paying up for him, I think people will look at, going down to like, I guess maybe like a Chisholm or Hernandez or Frazier going all the way down to Labaya, who could be potentially like 2.8K in Coors.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably just going Coors and paying up. But yeah, if you can't pay up, then you can pay down with Rogers. He's 2.6K. Not a great hitter, not the worst, but he's 2.6K in Coors. Gets the bad pitcher. Like those are your options pretty much for cash. In tournaments, I think that Simeon makes an interesting guy to throw in, and I mean Toronto makes an interesting little stack. Glass now with that hitter's umpire playing in that ballpark against a talented Toronto team, he can easily end up getting beat up. I mean, we saw them, I think, do this earlier to Freddie Peralta earlier in the season, just beat him up even though he struck out 10. I think he still gave up 5 runs. But that's kind of where I'm at. Outside of that, I'm probably looking at my stacks, which are going to be Cesar Hernandez going up against Dobnak, 3.9K, far too cheap. Yeah, it's pretty much that him or Wong, whoever I'm in throwing my stack, I'm going to end up, or whoever I end up stacking, I'm going to end up throwing up a batter from that lineup into my stack if I'm not going with the Coors bats.
Yeah, if I'm paying up today, I'm going to try to get Ryan McMahon. I love Coors today. It's great hitting weather. I'm playing, lower owned pitchers, so I feel like I can play Coors a little bit. So yeah, like overall, I feel like second base is another position that's going to be pretty spread out. But I think second base is a position that you really should try to spend up on today, because I do think opportunity cost is pretty high at second base today, and it's usually shortstop. Like, we talk about shortstop so much and how much opportunity costs at shortstop all the time. So moving over to third base. I mean, third base, there's a ton of options today. What are you looking at here for third base?
I mean, yeah, third base, you can really go pretty much any way you want. Obviously, throwing your batter in your stack or playing McMahon or Escobar is the easiest way to do things. Outside of that, like, there's options all over the place. I mean, Bregman going up against Gibson. Gibson's been solid overall this year, but Bregman doesn't really strike out. He puts the ball in the air quite a bit. VR is super cheap at 3.5K. He's been hitting the ball. He's batting leadoff, going up against a not great pitcher. You can go Jose Ramirez is probably my favorite play. He's the only guy coming in around 4 or 5% ownership. Again, huge fan of this Cleveland stack. I really, really like it. Moncada is going to come in super low ownership. I know they have been great versus lefties so far this season, but still he's cheap, or I mean, he's got low owned. He's the guy that I'm probably going to end up way, way over the field on. Shaw, again, huge fan of this Milwaukee stack. Shaw is too cheap at 3.9K. This entire stack is too cheap at 3K, pretty much all the way up and down outside of Yelich. So, yeah, that's basically where you're going. You go with Coors, or you probably just round out your stack or play a high-priced one-off in Bregman or Ramirez.
Yeah, I mean, Escobar is going to be really popular, so like playing Ramirez to be different is a fantastic way to make your lineup different. Suarez, I like the Reds a lot against Hauser. Alec Boehm, if you want to go down against Perez, he's 3.6K. We really haven't talked too much about the Phillies. They're in a good spot, good hitting weather. Jonathan VR batting leadoff against the Miami, Curtis pitching there. So I feel like third base is a position you could either spend up or go down. You're probably going to include third base in your stack a lot on this slate. But if you really want to get different today, I think Kyle Seager is super interesting. I think Chris Paddock's going to be really high owned. Seager can go yard against anybody. They're on the road. He's probably going to get 4 at-bats unless they get no hit again, because that's always tilting when it happens. But I do think that Seager is somewhat interesting as like a tournament one-off today. But my favorite third baseman today, hands down, is Escobar. Again, just that game sets up really nice. But if you're not playing Coors, I'm with you. I like Jose Ramirez a lot on this slate. Going to shortstop, Trevor Story's 5.2K. He's the chalk, right? Like, he's the guy that everybody's going to play at shortstop today.
Yeah, Trevor Story in Coors going up against a bad pitcher. Yeah, he's the top overall play. Like, I think a lot of people are going to end up spending up at shortstop. It's going to be Story. It's going to be Turner. It's going to be Tatis. Those 3 guys are the clear and obvious plays. Swanson doesn't grade out as a bad play. Going up against Anderson, he's got the platoon split. Anderson's been decent, but Swanson is just a little bit underpriced and playing a pretty decent lineup there. Outside of that, I mean, really not a lot of guys to love on today's slate. I mean, you can either punt it entirely and go with a trash hitter like Kim, like Andrus, like Urias. But the best move is going to be to spend up on one of those studs, because everyone else is just kind of not a great player or in a just bad overall matchup.
Another day to spend up at shortstop. I mean, I can name off the top of my head 3 outfielders under 4K that are fantastic plays on the slate. And like Eddie Rosario, we love Cleveland. We're about to talk about him. He's like, what, 3.2K or 3.3K or something, batting second against Dobnak. You're not getting that at shortstop. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, you're just not getting that at shortstop. At shortstop, every day I try to pay up at shortstop. I love saving money at catcher, and I like paying up at shortstop. Like, it's something that I've talked about many, many times. I mean, there's an 11.5 total in Coors for a reason. This is the best. I don't know if it's the best weather we've had in Coors all season, but I bet you it's pretty close, Grant.
I'm guessing it is. I mean, unless it's been different in the last week, I don't think I've seen a great day in Denver for a while.
Yeah. I mean, when Kevin Roth tells me it's perfect hitting conditions in Coors, I'm in. Like, all right, I'm stacking Coors. Like, there you go. I mean, to get different at shortstop, Tim Anderson is super interesting. We've talked about the White Sox a lot and how good they are against left-handed pitching. And Xander Bogaerts. I mean, Nola's a good pitcher. It's good hitting weather in Philly. I mean, like, if you want to get off a Story and not play Trey Turner, because Trey Turner is obviously probably the best pivot. I mean, Story's the play. Cash games, tournaments, it doesn't matter. You're trying to get Trevor Story. Outfield. I mean, Grant, most of the time, outfield is going to be a position that you're going to use with your stacks. Obviously, Pavin Smith, Tapia, they're really cheap batting. Pavin Smith should bat towards the top of the order. We don't have that lineup out yet. Talk to me about outfield.
I think he's batting second.
Oh, okay. So it did come out?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, outfield's pretty simple. The top overall plays are the Coors guys, Blackman, Marte, Pavin Smith, Tapia are all super, super solid plays. Some of the best point per dollar plays, some of the best raw points plays on the entire slate. I'm going more towards Milwaukee. I love Yelich. I love Kane. Kane's cheap. Both those guys are fantastic. We talked about Rosario. I'm going very heavy on Cleveland. He's way underpriced with the platoon split, batting second with just a decent overall spot here. So Rosario is probably going to be my highest owned outfielder, I would assume, but I'm not going to argue with Coors or Milwaukee. Both are great. Outside of that, if you want, then you can always pay down a little bit over in Chicago. Like Luis Garcia, obviously not great, but he's cheap. Vaughn, decent overall bat. He's 2.2K. Mendick, 2.6K. Like, you can stack up the White Sox with two of these guys and then too few power bats and still fit Bauer into your lineup. So that's kind of where I'm at for outfield. Like, it's Coors, it's Milwaukee, it's Rosario, and then it's the White Sox outfield if I'm going to go cheap.
Yeah, I mean, Profar is somebody that you could play in the outfield as well. He's 2.8K. He's batting second against Chris Flexen. That's another spot. We really haven't talked too much about the Padres, but, Profar, you're not really probably going to use him at first base, but I think he's someone. Texas is super cheap. If you want to use them as like a secondary stack, go low. Calhoun, Gallo, they're cheap against a young pitcher, and they obviously, like I said, strike out or home runs. Trent Grisham is 4K, another guy that I like against Flexen. But yeah, I mean, we should have mentioned Ohtani. Juan Soto. Like, if you want to pay up at outfield, there's plenty of options. Nick Castellanos, Juan Soto. Yeah, like, I mean, it's a fun slate because there's so many different ways that you could go on stacks and stuff, and there's so many different ways that you can go at pitcher that opens up a lot for stacks as well. So, all right, let's get some questions in. Before we roll questions, Grant, like, I know you've said it a couple times, your favorite stack on the slate just in general, who are you looking at?
Milwaukee. I'm stacking 4 teams. Milwaukee, Chicago, not Chicago. Yeah, Chicago, not the Cubs, the White Sox. Colorado and Cleveland. Those are the only ones I'm stacking.
All right. Yeah, I stacked Coors 2 different ways, and then I stacked the Reds. So I mean, like, I'm always for like fading Coors and being underweight on Coors, but I just don't see this game disappointing today. So it's definitely going to disappoint. The Rockies have a 6 implied team total, 6.3. Like, it's just crazy. I think they have the 2 highest implied team totals on the slate, don't they? I know Atlanta has, I think they're really high as well, but yeah. Good hitting weather in Coors always does that. So, all right, let's get into some questions. What do we got, Devin?
Let's see. We got quite a few, actually, believe it or not. We can start with Stan wants to know Oakland stack. Did you guys mention that just now?
I don't think I talked about it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to argue with it. Quintana can get a little wild, but he strikes out a lot of guys. Not expecting a ton of runs there, but I wouldn't mind it.
All right, Stevie. Eric wants to know, what are your thoughts about a Cubs stack?
The Cubbies. I mean, again, I just got done talking about like my stacks, but Carlos Martinez coming off of injury, I could definitely see stacking the Cubs here. Martinez like 12% K rate on the season, and if he's not on, the Cubs could put up a big number here.
Grant, what about the Marlins SP? 4K on DK? You going there at all? No.
I don't think he's going to pitch deep enough in the game.
All right. Stevie, you were talking about a Seattle stack earlier. You liked him, right? Kyle Singer as well?
I mean, if you're not playing Paddock and you want to get different and create a ton of leverage, like the top of the order is good enough to stack. You can go Kalenic, Haniger, Seager, Lewis, and like the top four. If Paddock's not pitching well, I think it's definitely playable. Paddock, it's not like he's been great, and he's going to be very popular.
We'll get to Aaron real quick. Question was Paddock's season innings limit. Did you have that off the top of your head, Stevie?
Not off the top of my head, but you can tell they're definitely limiting him. I don't think he's thrown over 5 1/3 yet this season, and I doubt he throws more than like 6 innings at all.
And I think you touched on this earlier too when we were going through it, but Frederick in chat was saying that Strauss threw 35 pitches in his Sunday rehab start.
75.
Yeah.
75.
Yeah.
Yeah, I what, Grant? 75, 85. Kids gloves with Steven Strasberg for years. I don't expect that to change.
Yeah.
This one comes from yours truly, Grant. You've kind of made a name for yourself as the Chicago White Sox whisperer in seasons past. Do you want to tell us what the tea leaves are saying tonight? I think you were on a few of them.
They're my favorite stack on the slate. They're going to come in at no ownership, and Montgomery's overrated.
Is it Cleveland or White Sox first?
White Sox.
White Sox first, and Cleveland close second?
I think Milwaukee's number 2, just because of their price over on DK.
All right. Stevie, David wants to know, it's a 3v3. Escobar, Hampson, Tapia, or McMahon, Rojas, Blackman.
I mean, look at ownership on that one. It's basically the same place. Give me the first one, I guess.
Escobar, Hampson, Tapia.
Yeah, just because of Escobar, more than likely, like just looking at third base, if you want to pay up for Escobar, it makes the most sense.
And we talked about Wood, right, being potentially viable with that Dodgers lineup.
I mean, the Dodgers are dealing with a ton of injuries, so yeah. I could totally see playing Alex Wood tonight.
All right, don't forget to hit that like button if we get to your question, and go ahead and throw them in chat. We'll get to them. We still got plenty of time. Eric wants to know, Grant, what about the Milwaukee pitcher for DK?
No, Hauser's not that great.
All right, ZZTV DK tournament best large field stack. Would we go with White Sox on that one?
Yep.
All right, friend of the show, Flores Mark. Grant, have you ordered room service yet? The question we're all wondering.
No, I'm not a big room service guy. I just order Postmates now. Like, I can get a restaurant that's solid near me.
Will they come all the way up to whatever floor you are? Or you have to be in the lobby?
I basically put a note in there, be like, if you make it up to my room without having to call me, extra $3 for you.
You just incentivize it. I should start doing that. When I'm at the office and I'm doing these shows, sometimes I'll order and they'll say, "Oh, I'm out front." I'm just like, I'm in the middle of something here. I can't exactly come meet you. Grant, Eric asked for a Cleveland stack. You like that one? So let's hit your top 3 top 3 hitters from Cleveland.
Top 3 hitters, probably Ramirez, Rosario. Then doesn't matter too much.
All right, Darnell wanted to know, and they picked a good day to bring this question. Kettle Marte 1.3x multiplier on Super Draft. Do you like that?
Yeah, it's not bad. Yerman Mercedes is the best overall play over on Super Draft for hitters.
Perfect. Don't forget, we got about 10 minutes or so left in this one. We'll get to free crunch time, and then we'll do some big brain trivia after that on NBA for tonight's topic. Eric wants to know, tell me about Gibson on DK. I think Eric just maybe showed up a little late for the SP situation, so maybe want to touch on
play
top
McKenzie, play Minor, play Rodon, play Wood. If you want, you eat the chalk with Bauer. I have no problem with that. I'm just not playing into it.
And Stevie Brandon wants to know a Padre stack. Are you into it?
I mean, they're expensive. Chris Flexen doesn't strike anybody out, so sure they're going to make a lot of contact, but they're not a team that I would stack on a 3-entry max, but if I was playing 150, I would definitely have exposure to.
Just going to go ahead and call it now, like minus 300 that Cheese or Tuttle says flexing during crunch time, and Roth gives us a little flex there. That's going to happen. I'm calling it now.
You don't think they're watching, right? Like that?
Oh,
like
I doubt it.
That?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, I'm sure he's going to come in with that one. Let's see. Max asking the real questions. Does Grant use the term "suns out, guns out"?
Seems... No, all the time. All the time.
I mean, there's a sun on your shirt, right?
No, yes, and
just
there's
sky.
a cat wearing sunglasses.
It's a little too low on the camera frame here. This is a family show. Alan wants to know Royal stack. I think you were rather pitchers.
I'm fine with it. I'm not doing it.
You were going with the pitcher against them, right?
No, I'm going with the Royals pitcher.
Oh, the Royals pitcher. Sorry. Stevie John wants to know, would you pick Blackman over a Rosarina and Winkler? Winkler or Winker?
Winker and who? A Rosarina?
Yeah, Blackman over both of those.
I mean, yeah. Like, I love Coors today. So I would rank my top 3 teams Coors, Cincinnati. Like, I mean, like, that's what I like today. I really like Coors. Shocking.
I'm gonna start leading questions with, can I get your top 5, and then we just get 3 answers instead. Grant, Eric wants to know, talk me off a minor, but you're into him, so I don't think that's the best person.
No way.
Don't talk him off of it. Ryan wants to know, Stevie, is Eddie Rosario still alive?
I hope so.
It's a professional with a bat.
I mean, he's 3,300 and he's batting second, so I hope like just a boost of confidence, moving him up in the order. He's been hitting the ball a little bit better. I think he has hits in 3 of the last 5 games. So I hope Rosario.
He had a home run like last week, right? Didn't he? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I mean, I don't remember the last time he hit a home run because I haven't played him a lot this season. But yeah.
All right, Grant. Ryan wants to know, do you think the Washington stack will be too owned to be effective?
I don't think so.
All right, Stevie Doug wants to know, are you high on Franmil in the stack for Cleveland?
I mean, yeah, like if you're stacking Cleveland, he's one of the home run hitters. Like you have to have Franmil in there. Like if you're stacking Cleveland today, there's like 3 guys that I feel like you have to have, and that's Ramirez, Reyes, and Rosario, just because of Rosario's price. But I mean, after that, you can look at like Naylor. Cesar Hernandez is okay. He's just not a big power guy. You're hoping more for just runs scored and getting on base. And then, I mean, I don't even hate Luplow in like a righty because like Dobnek is a guy that what?
Luplow. And that was.
I mean, yeah, like Dobnek is a guy. I think his hard hit rate's at like 43% against righties this season. He's going to give up hard hits to both sides of the plate.
All right, Grant. Let's see. Well, before we say that, Franmil Reyes, double-time member of the 6-pack in the past 2 weeks. So yeah, he's got some pop. Grant Frederick wants to know, any love for anyone in the trashy Mets lineup versus the Miami bullpen?
Not really. If it were not being played in I guess it just bad ballpark. No.
All right, keep dropping those questions. We'll get to them shortly. Still got plenty of time left, and hit that like button. Let's see. Stevie Ryan wants to know, in a single entry lineup, what's the strategy? Fade Coors?
I mean, no. Like, I think, I like low on pitchers. I like Kapperlin. I like Ian Anderson. I think going underweight on Bauer. And just playing a couple one-offs maybe with Coors against, like, chalky pitchers. Like I mentioned, Eric Haas, cheap catcher against a chalky minor. So, I mean, I don't feel like you in a single entry that you have to get too different and not play Coors. I think you can play Coors and just get different with pitching. It's a 15-game slate. There's a ton of pitching options.
I think that's one lesson I've learned so far in this early part of the baseball season is big slates, plenty of pitching options. Don't worry about the chalk. Just go somewhere else. There's plenty of options. Grant, Ryan asks, is it insane to play Paddock on Fanduel and stack Coors?
What's Paddock's price over on Fanduel? I'm checking it real quick. 6.3. Okay. Oh, no, that's not insane at all.
All right. Let's see. Stevie, Tony wants to know your top 4 outfielders on DK tournament under 4K. I think you said you had 3 or 4 off the top of your head, correct?
Let's see. I would definitely say Eddie Rosario. Pavin Smith, I think, is under 4K. I think is
Kane.
Who?
Kane.
Lorenzo.
No, he stinks. Joey Gallo, ceiling wise, and What is the price? I think he's 4K exactly. Give me Tapia. Again, Coors.
All right, still got about 5 minutes left and coming up to the end of the
5
questions.
minutes?
Yeah, it's going slow. You guys took too little time going through positions here.
I thought we were going too fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or
You
too
guys
slow. Sorry.
zipped right through. We'll have to make another round, do the cycle like Dean says. John,
we got plenty of time. Bring on the questions.
John wants to know, maybe this is a Grant question because I think Stevie said shortstop's the place to pay up. Want to know a cheap shortstop on DK that's in play.
I mean, shortstop's kind of just complete trash. Over on DK, you're paying up predominantly. I guess Kim is 2.1K. Like, I guess Pinder, if he's in the lineup. I don't know if we got that yet.
What was Tim Anderson's price? Was he in the 4Ks?
He's like 5.6K.
Oh, wow. Okay. Never mind. Let's see. Stevie Darnell wants to know Rodon or Minor on on Super Draft. That's what that is. Same price.
Oh, Redone, right? I mean, like ceiling wise, I feel like Minor's the safer play. If you're playing like cash games or something, I think Minor's the play. But I think if you're trying to chase like ceiling at lower ownership, it's Redone. Another cheap shortstop is Donovan Walton if he's in the lineup against Paddock, just to get different again.
All right, Grant B. Sand coming with a DK tournament question. Thoughts on fading the 10K pitchers and going with Minor, who you love, and Caprielian?
I mean, Stevie's more of the fan than Capriola, but I love McKenzie, so fade the 10K. I have a few McKenzie Minor lineups, and I love those. There's a chance that they're two of the top overall plays on the slate.
All right, Stevie, can you rank these cheap FanDuel Coors crappers for Ryan? Dom Nunez, Brett Rogers, and Varsho.
Who was the second one you said?
That was Brett Rogers.
Brett Rogers. I mean, I'd go Rogers. Varsho, I guess, and then Nunez. All right, I'd probably put Nunez second. Rogers, Nunez. Yeah.
Sounds like crappers was the right way to describe that then.
Grant, I mean, they're bottom of the order Coors guys. I don't think we have any data on Rogers yet, do we?
You could do worse, especially in cash.
Yeah. So
Grant, Andrew wants to know, Gregory Polanco looks good on Plate IQ. Any interest? No. All right. Alan for Stevie, Ian Anderson or Alex Wood for more DK points?
Ian Anderson.
All right. Grant LN wants to know thoughts on Kirilloff batting cleanup.
I mean, he's fine. McKenzie gets wild versus lefties. The umpire worries me a little bit, but him or Kepler, if you're going to attack him, it's going to be with lefties, and neither one of those two are horrible plays.
All right, and somebody in chat was wondering what the page with the ISO and all batter stats is. It's a Plate IQ page. It's up on the screen, and I dropped a link in chat.
Literally the most important page you can have for doing baseball research.
When I'm not working, I can spend hours just pouring through individual lineups on Plate IQ, and it feels like not at all wasted time. Stevie Ryan wants to know Coors. Oh, yeah, it's Coors the Colorado stack. That's correct, Ryan. David, thoughts on Texas three-man mini stack for tournaments, Stevie? Think you like it?
I like it. Yeah, they're strike. They hit so many home runs. What are they? They're top 5, aren't they, Grant? I'm pretty sure. Against lefties and righties. I mean, Texas.
Yeah, I mean, they hit
Lowe,
bombs.
Garcia, Gallo, Calhoun. If you want a 5-man stack, throw Solek or Dahl in there. I mean, it's a young pitcher. If he gets a little wild and you get the early part of the Houston bullpen, Texas could hang 8 runs today, and it wouldn't shock me at all.
All right. Max wants to know, does Grant only drink alcoholic beverages with umbrellas in them?
No, I'm not. I'm a hard seltzer and red wine
He's
guy.
a White Claw guy.
Put an umbrella in the can. Bring it up.
That is a
class it up.
classy play.
Yeah.
What about the wine glass? Drop a little umbrella in the wine glass?
I'm more sophisticated than that, Stevie. You know that.
I do. I've seen the wine collection.
Yeah, I think everybody on Twitter has seen that massive wine collection. How long did it take for them to deliver that day?
I've made actually really good friends with the delivery guy.
Of course.
I got him a Starbucks gift certificate to apologize. He's like, no, honestly, just tell me your secrets. I taught him how to buy wine online at really cheap prices.
You found all the ancillary wine vending sites that don't have a lot of users yet, and know how to take advantage of all the deposit bonuses for.
Well, they're always trying to get new people buying wine, and they only have they're selling it pretty much close to wholesale prices because they can. Like a lot of times they ship it directly from their warehouse. So the biggest cost associated with selling alcohol is the floor space. So yeah, you just find it, and occasionally they'll offer deals in order to get more people buying on their site. And as soon as one of those comes out, I order like 5 cases.
We'll need to get a wine site review page set up, get a couple of videos of you doing tutorials. B Sand wants to know DK tournaments, Stevie A's righties against Quintana.
I mean, yeah, Quintana is a guy that gives up a lot of hard contact to righties. Chapman, Murphy, Piscotty, Pinder, Kana, all can hit left-handed pitching really well, so sure.
All right, well, we have caught up on all the questions. I see a couple of the Crunch Time hosts are here, and maybe we go ahead and bring them in, and we'll go ahead and start swapping over.
Who are those guys?
We got currently Cheese and Roth, still waiting on one Mr. Tuttle 05 to show up.
That sounds about right. Tuttle's always late.
So I am going to go ahead and bring those guys in. All right. There we go.
Hey, party people.
Hey, what's happening?
Hi.
That
Hey.
son of a biscuit.
This is when I always ask, are we currently live? And
Yes.
if we are, so don't drop F-bombs or any sort of bombs at all.
Don't do the normal.
I was texting someone and I was driving, so I was using the speak to text because I'm a responsible adult, and I said fudging on there, and it actually auto-corrected to the F-bomb.
It's a reverse. It's like if you were actually trying to type ducking. It's like, that's amazing. I didn't know the reverse was possible.
Roth, this weather is perfect. Coors weather?
I mean, I'd prefer if it was like 40-mile-per-hour winds blowing out.
Okay.
But yeah, it's as good as you could ask for.
Well, you said perfect hitting conditions, and you got me all excited.
So-
You can't use the word perfect, Roth.
You're right.
All right.
So perfect if you include the fact that it's Coors.
You're trying to
You know.
big brain me.
Oh, it wouldn't be better if it was 100 degrees out there?
Well, that's what. Sure.
You
Okay,
said
fine.
perfect, Roth.
Fantastic
I'm just trying
is
to
a
be.
better word. It's the
Listen,
more
I see
accurate
you.
word.
I see you have
You're
the
right.
short sleeve, flexing shirt on, so you're ready for that
That's how
one.
I
And
roll. Yeah.
Tuttle's here, so me and Grant can leave. I'm gonna go eat dinner. You guys
Roth,
have
not
fun doing
even.
the show.
You're wearing sleeves, Roth. What is wrong with you?
The odds of me wearing sleeves and you not is something's wrong. Had I known it was sleeveless Friday, I'd have joined you.
Yeah. Well, I'm in sunny California.
Okay, well
So-
then I will let you go and do whatever it is you do out there in sunny California.
Hang out on the beach, I guess.
Sounds wonderful. Sounds
It's
lovely.
about a half block away.
Okay, well, I assume we're kicking the OGs out and we're taking over some crunch time now, Devin.
I'm out. See you
I'm
guys.
outta here.
Thanks
Well,
for
then,
watching.
hey, it's good seeing you guys, and we will roll into crunch time, which includes one,
Bye-bye.
Mr. Dave Pop. Bye, Grant. That guy is such a character. Like, he's maybe the strangest person I've ever met, and I mean that in the kindest, nicest way, because he's amazing.
And it was so the first time I met him in real life. If you've never met him in real life, this is no act. If anything, he's slightly stranger in real life. It's fantastic.
Yeah. He's an oddball in the best way possible. We also have Tuttle joining in as well, who's adjusting things. You got your new setup, looking sharp there, Tuttle. Hey man, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
No complaints. We've got some content to go over, and then after that, we're gonna do Big Brain Trivia. This Crunch Time is presented by Big Brain Trivia, and while we're killing time between us giving free advice, all of you on YouTube, like and subscribe for the free advice, and us doing the tournament, I'm going to make my own trivia for you guys. How does that sound?
We are on board.
Right? I'm pretty excited about that. I don't have the questions yet, but I'm going to come up with it while you guys are talking about, about the sports. How's this slate looking?
It's huge and tough. I mean, there's just 15 game slates with really just like the one game in Coors, and then like every other offense is tied, and just a few good pitchers, and then a whole bunch of kind of okay pitchers. It's a big old jumbled mess of a ton of stuff. I don't know if that's good or bad or otherwise.
Okay. Can I break that tie? Because I've got something that I think can break the tie.
Do it.
Philly. Not necessarily the teams in Philly. I love the weather in Philly. It's like 81, 82 degrees or right around there. Winds are blowing out to center at about 10 miles per hour. If I looked at Weather Edge right before I came on here, there's been an increase in runs in like a good sample size, like 100 game sample size, about a 30% increase in home runs, about a 20-something% increase in runs. This is good hitting weather in Philly, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm hoping, Tuttle, maybe there's some bats there that we like.
Sorry, Toronto, yes. Or is that where we were?
No.
I'm trying to figure out the screen share.
Let me take that for a second while Dan is doing what he's doing.
Let me tell you, I had to do that last week, and I spent the entire show trying to figure that out. So I feel for you, man.
Well, my computer told me it's not showing, but Devin says it's good, so we'll go with what Devin says.
All right. Well, you work with Devin on that. It is not easy to figure out. Cheese, talk to me here about if you like anything in Philly.
What I was going to say is that's actually very useful for potentially narrowing down the pitchers, because that's Aaron Nola, who's kind of like a borderline ace, but a guy I don't think I wasn't using on DraftKings anyway, but on Fanduel, he's kind of tied for the mid-tier starting pitcher to use. And that's a reasonable reason to think maybe you use Ian Anderson instead of him in that 9. They're like $200 apart. And I'm kind of torn between Nola and Anderson.
Okay.
You give me a reason not to like one of them. That does help that a little bit.
Sure. I will add in tournaments, like, look, a guy can pitch a no-hitter in any kind of weather. So don't let that talk you off him, for tournament takes. It just, all it matters, the weather only matters if somebody really hits a ball really far and it gets right there, right at the fence. Warning track power will become a home run in good weather and will become an out in poor weather.
And we do have, the Phillies against Martin Perez are pretty interesting already.
Juicy. Okay. I'll add that I really like Colorado, which is not a shock to anyone. Not only is it Coors, also the winds are blowing out. Also, it's fairly warm. So those are the two spots that I want to key in on. And that's it. I want to turn it over and talk some pitchers. You guys ready? Okay.
Yes, I think I'm finally ready.
Okay.
Dan looks ready to me. He looks fired up and ready.
Tuttle, do you want to lead us off here with some pitcher talk?
Yeah. So I think the talk tonight, I'm pretty much everywhere, is what are you doing? Are you spending up? Is it a night where we need to spend up? There are a lot of bats in play. DraftKings finally raised their pitching pricing up. We have Bauer sitting at 11.9. He's got the best matchup of the bunch. He projects the best as the bunch, but is he worth it? And I'm not sure, honestly. It's a very tough question to answer. I think he is the best option overall. We do have some decent value bats. Even the bats in Coors, I think, are cheap enough where I think you play Bauer in cash games on DraftKings. I know that's not a glowing endorsement, but I do think he is the way to go and start cash game lineups on DraftKings. FanDuel's a little bit different though, because we have one guy who is completely underpriced. He's not been good this season, but he gets Seattle without the DH, so that's a big thing. But Paddock is only 6,300. Again, he's not been good. He has not been striking hitters out. But man, 6,300 is a tough price tag to pass up on FanDuel, especially because you could just load up with bats. So I think the decision on FanDuel is between Bauer and Paddock for cash games. I see Cheese has both guys tagged. So I'll be interested to hear what route he has finally decided on. But those are the two cash game options on FanDuel. And then DraftKings, I do believe it's between Bauer as your SP1, and then you're probably sitting with Mike Minor as your SP2.
Okay, Cheese, let's talk about some of these pitchers here. What say you?
Yeah, so I think just play Bauer in cash games. Like, you can just do it. So you punt one or two bats more than you ideally might want to. Like, he's he just is better than everyone else tonight. So I think just play Bauer in cash games. Like that Paddock salary on FanDuel, it's so enticing. But again, even with a Coors Field game, even if you're trying to load that up, we're just still rarely really pinching pennies on FanDuel. I think it's much more interesting in tournaments where there's a lot of builds you can't make with Bauer. That's where we come to that, Aaron Nola versus Ian Anderson discussion in the mid-tier. I think you play both of them in some tournament lineups, but I don't really love those guys any more than I like, Mike Minor, $1,200 less, or Paddock down at 6,300. So I've got a pretty even split of those guys, and they each lead to just very different builds around them. There's a ton of guys you're allowed to use. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Carlos Rodon. I do have a little bit of Glass now just because it's Glass now. The difference between him and Bauer matchup wise is huge, but I'm always going to have a little bit of Tyler Glass now. But that's pretty much my pitcher pool on FanDuel. And then on DraftKings, it's more interesting because we do have these dirt cheap options today. We have Randy Dobnak is $4K. And then this rookie for the Astros, Tyler Ivey, is $4,800. I'm playing some Dobnak. I think he's just a very good real life pitcher. And while he was a reliever, they did send him down to stretch out as a starter. So he is actually a starter. He's not an opener. He's a starter. We're still looking, 4 or 5 innings, and he's not a huge strikeout guy. So it's not amazing, but he's better than a 4K pitcher in my mind. So basically, I'm not going anyone between Mike Minor, 7,500, and then just all the way down to Dobnak. The other guy who I think deserves some sort of talk, regardless of your feeling on it, is Steven Strasberg. He's coming back, and just seeing his name at 8,300 on DraftKings looks weird. I mean, it's Steven Strasberg. Mm-hmm. Officially, they say there's no pitch count on him. I believe that, to quote Ed Rooney, about as far as I can throw him, and I shouldn't throw anyone with my bad knee. But Steven Strasberg for 8,300. I'm not playing him. I don't think you're crazy if you do. I still think we're looking at 5 innings, 75 pitches, and there's just other pitchers I like better. But yeah, he's playable.
Okay. Anything else, Tuttle, you want to add at pitcher, or you feel good there?
I have a hot take.
Oh,
and I'm ready to get scoffed at for it. Okay. But there is one guy who I actually think is a decent real life pitcher who we don't know much about yet, but is between Minor and Dobnak, and not the greatest matchup, but Angels will be without Mike Trout. Kaprelian, I think, is actually a pretty decent pitcher. He's a guy, again, Kaprelian, Oakland. Yeah. Okay. He's a guy that's been injured a lot. Like, he was actually a fairly decent prospect, but struggled big time with injuries throughout his early career. He pitched against Boston, went 95 pitches. So they're actually going to pitch him pretty deep if he's pitching well. Again, the Angels don't have Trout. So I think he's worth some shots at 6,100 on DraftKings. I don't think, we still don't know a ton about him, but again, from what we've seen when he's pitched in the minors, some decent strikeout stuff. So I don't think he's the worst play in the world if you're looking for somebody. We have him projected at 2% ownership. And I'm cool with that. I think he's worth a very, very small dabble.
Okay. I think with that, we should go ahead and talk about some of the hitters. And that means, Cheese, you get to talk about the glorious catcher position. And being that there's 15 games, maybe there is some good catchers out there.
I mean, there's something good at every position. Yeah. But tonight, last night, I tried to do the core play tag on Dalton Varsho, just so Cardi could be excited on French time. And then he wasn't in the lineup. He is in the lineup tonight. So on DraftKings, to me, he's just the obvious cash game catcher. You don't need to spend up in cash games. You have Varsho at 3K in Coors Field, even batting 8th. But one thing before we go kind of around the horn, every single position, we're going to say a Coors Field bat. That does not mean that I actually recommend just playing all Coors Field in all your tournaments. This is more a cash game build, and by all means, you do want some in tournaments. But we'll look for some reasons not to play Coors Field, which for me at catcher, I like Sal Perez. I like Mitch Garver. I like Omar Narvaez, and then kind of a sprinkle of everyone else. I guess Austin Nola I will throw in there as well.
Tuttle?
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of nailed it. I do think Varsho's the guy in cash games. I apparently have to show excitement to kind of, since Cardi was supposed to be excited that Varsho has that tag. So I'll be very excited that he's got the core tag on DraftKings. Yay!
This is unbelievable.
But yeah, I mean, she's nailed most of it. Mejia is another guy I would mention, with, playing in a hitter's park. He's a guy that he's actually a good hitter. He hasn't shown it. He hasn't had much of a chance to show it, and he hasn't really shown it in the big leagues. But he does have a decent bat. So Mejia at 2,700 would be the other guy that I would throw in there. Otherwise, it's pretty much what she said, and then mixing in bats based on teams you're stacking, that sort of thing.
Okay, great. That brings us to first base, and Tuttle, you get to lead off.
Yeah, DraftKings, it's Megacron. CJ Cron is 3,800.
That's
Yeah,
amazing. I love it.
He's way too cheap for what he is for the matchup.
Love it, or you like it okay?
I like it okay.
Okay.
He likes it okay. But yeah, it's CJ Cron. Obviously, somebody like Pavin Smith has positional eligibility here. You can play him at first base, or you can play him in the outfield. I think my preference is in the outfield for my builds. My kind of hitting hotter take for bats is I really like some of these twins as 1-offs and 2-offs and 3-offs. So Krylov, who is back, called up, recalled, going up against Tristan McKenzie. That is a game that has good hitting weather. I kind of did not hear you talk about it, Roth, but I think that's one of the spots in Cleveland that has good hitting weather.
Sure. Yeah, it's warm.
Left-handed power plays well in Cleveland. So Krylov is a guy that I like quite a bit for tournaments, and I like the other left-handed bats there too. McKenzie's a guy that he's been pitching well, but if you look at like a lot of his underlying statistics, he's been running really hot in terms of just runners stranded, runners left on base. He's allowing a lot of hard contact, that sort of thing. So Krylov is one of those guys that I like at first base that I don't think is going to have very much ownership at all. In terms of like the higher end, if you're looking to spend, I do think that actually could be a decent option on this slate because I don't think people are going to be paying up. Like even Rhys Hoskins would be kind of where I would stop in terms of paying up, and he's 4,500. So that means we're going to get, ownership discount on a lot of these guys that have good bats. Freddie Freeman, because he's does not have the platoon advantage, he's going to go low owned. But I would obviously make sure to include him in your Brave stacks. But paying up in general at this spot, I think, is going to be not a common approach.
Cheese?
Yeah, just in general, pretty much anything that's not in Coors Field and maybe a couple of Nationals bats is just not an ownership issue. Like it just has to get so spread out. Like on a lot of slates, I think we would see someone like Hoskins be very popular and 20% owned. It's just, you just can't do it because everyone's playing Cron and Pavin Smith and then maybe Josh Bell. So yeah, guys like Freeman and Hoskins, just nobody at all is going to play them because they can't, not that nobody likes them. And I agree, the Twins are kind of a wild card kind of team tonight, and a place I don't mind, to quote Tuttle again, 1-offs, 2-offs, 3-offs, just making up words. Dan Vogelbach is a random cheap guy as well. It's a spread it out position.
All right, bring us to second base.
So we do have a lot of Coors Field bats at second base. I think if you're playing cash games and you can only spend up on one Diamondbacks bat, it would be Eduardo Escobar for me. And I'd rather play him at second than third. And then I certainly love Ryan McMahon on the Rockies side. We have DraftKings value with Louis Arias is leading off, and he's 2,900. He's not like amazing, but leading off for the Twins, there aren't a lot of really good bats under 3K outside of the outfield tonight. So I don't mind playing him if you need the savings. There's another position, like every position, there's going to be some really good players that nobody plays just because you can't. Like, Whit Merrifield and Altuve and Ozzie Albies. And I like all these guys fine. But second base it's not as good as first base as far as finding that random guy on his own to play. So it's a little more like catcher again for me today, where I'm usually playing a second baseman in my stack.
All right, Tuttle.
Yeah, I agree with that. Somebody Cheese mentioned was Whit Merrifield. I get to do the value rankings for Yahoo, and Whit is, I believe, let me check this out. He's really cheap there. He's like $9 on Yahoo. So for those of you that like to play on Yahoo, no, he's not that cheap. He's 13. I still think that's too cheap. He stood out as somebody that was too cheap there. So yeah, I like him on Yahoo. I like him in tournaments elsewhere just because I don't think he's going to see much ownership, but I think the matchup's pretty solid. I think the Royals in general are a team that are probably going to go a bit under-owned on the slate, but Urania is another guy that allows a lot of hard contact, doesn't miss bats. So Whit Merrifield leading off and pairing him with somebody like Jorge Soler, who has huge power even against right-handed pitching, I think is a good approach for tournaments. So, but again, otherwise it's a lot of guys that Cheese said. Colton Wong would be the other guy against or in Cincinnati at GAB against Hoffman. I think he's a solid option, but I think Cheese pretty much nailed all the other guys.
Okay, then you get to take us to third.
Yeah, so third base, again, this is kind of depending on where you play Eduardo Escobar. If you want to play him on third base on DraftKings, you can do that. Otherwise, Ryan McMahon's the other option. Those are going to be the cash guys. I mentioned I like Twins bats. I also like Cleveland bats as well against Dobnik. Allows contact. So Jose Ramirez is a guy, we've said it in other spots. Jose Ramirez is a guy that would be fairly owned on other slates, but he's just not going to be tonight just because of how deep the slate is. Left-handed power, again, plays well at Progressive in Cleveland. So Jose Ramirez is a guy that I do like quite a bit, as if you want to pivot off of some of the higher owned chalk at this position, I think he's a good option. In terms of cheaper guys, somebody like Alec Baum against Martin Perez, he's only 3,600. He is my favorite value at the position. There's not a ton of guys that I like that are much cheaper than that. Jonathan Bauer, I think, would be an okay option for cheaper. But in terms of cash, it's Escobar or McMahon. And GPP, the spend up is Ramirez. And then Donaldson, again, I do like the Minnesota bats.
Cheese, third base.
Yeah, there's almost always so much at third.
Yeah.
So the guys who get even more just left completely out, I think Chapman, Rendon, Bregman, and even Devers in that Phillies game, even with it being Aaron Nola, I think he's always a play just on his own. The other team, I don't know, is anyone anywhere going to play any Dodgers bats? I am, just because, but Justin Turner, like, this is so many names at this position. It's just so loaded that I don't think you need to play McMahon or Escobar on their own in a tournament, because every one of these other guys has the same upside.
Okay. Then
yeah, did we mention Matt Chapman either? Like, that's another guy that on the, like, everybody loves those Oakland batters against lefties, and Chapman, like, he's not going to go owned either. So I agree with what she said in the sense that, like, if you're stacking, don't necessarily, obviously McMahon and Escobar are fine as one-offs, but don't get too happy with it. Like, spread your ownership out at this position.
Okay. Cheese, I believe you're up to take us to shortstop.
All right. So we run into the same thing here where, like, obviously Trevor Story is the play. Like, I had kind of no choice legally but to tag him as the core play. But in tournaments, I mean, I like Tatis and Trey Turner every bit as much as spend ups. I don't quite like the next tier as much as I did at third. So the next tier being guys like Bichette and Tim Anderson and Baez and Suarez. Like, to me, I would rather kind of just go straight for the few big pivots right off a Story, which is Tatis and Turner. If you're spending up, maybe Xander Bogaerts a little bit. You can go cheaper, like another team that there's so many, like, just leftovers, like the Yankees. They'll still hit a home run or two regardless of which version of Rodon shows up. I think Gleyber Torres is underpriced on DraftKings. But ideally, it's just so good. Unless do we have an Oakland lineup yet? So I was going to say, Chad Pinder is one of those just totally random dudes who usually shows up.
Batting fifth.
Okay. So, when he shows up for his price against a lefty, he's got to be in the player pool when you're just trying to go dirt cheap. But other than that, I'm spending up.
Tuttle, shortstop.
Yeah, I agree. Spend up. JP Crawford, I mentioned Paddock doesn't miss, or he's not missing mini mats this season. Crawford's only 2,900 if you want to get super cheap at the position. I think he's an okay play. Dansby Swanson is batting 6 at 4,200. I think just since I like the Braves in general, I think he's a decent option there as well.
Then you get to bring us to the outfield, and I imagine there is just an abundance of riches here, an embarrassment of riches.
Yes, complete embarrassment. Absolutely stacked. I think we said it before, like this is going to be a position that is still going to be dominated by Coors, even though there's going to be lots of other options. So guys like Pavin Smith, if you're playing him here, Josh Rojas. It would have been nice if DraftKings gave him second base eligibility. They did not. He only has outfield eligibility. But guys like him, David Peralta, Charlie Blackmon across the industry. Blackman's another guy who's too cheap on Yahoo. But in general, I think Coors is going to be the chalk. I think I'm fine with that in cash games. Plenty of options, though, if you're looking elsewhere. I pointed out that Minnesota-Cleveland game a couple times already. Eddie Rosario is only 3,300. I think that's too cheap for him. Max Kepler's 3,500. I think that's too cheap for him. Those are two of the guys that I like in that 3K range. Another guy I like in that 3K range is Andrew Benintendi. Again, mentioned Casey bats against Detroit already or against Urania. I think they're decent options. Christian Yelich is probably still a bit underpriced. He's 4,800 on DraftKings. I think he's a decent option as well. And I think that's it for me. I'll leave some of the other bats, some of the high-end bats for Cheese.
Real quick, could you name this site again? It's not DraftKings or Fanduel. It's what?
Yahoo.
Yahoo!
He said Yahoo.
I love it every time.
It makes me laugh every time. It's Yahoo. Most people
Yahoo.
say Yahoo, but you call it Yahoo.
I don't extend the O's long enough, I guess. Yahoo.
You just add the wrong emphasis.
I'm so glad you said it. I was gonna just keep to myself, but
It made me giggle. I had to hear it again. All right, Cheese. Yahoo. Let's get into the outfield here.
Yeah. So if I have all kinds of money, like my favorite play on the whole slate would be Juan Soto. I would play him ahead of the Coors Field bat, but like he's even more pricey than a guy like Trevor Story or something. But if money's just no object, I would play Soto and Acuna kind of ahead of Coors Field outfielders. I'm definitely less enamored in general with Coors Field in the outfield. Tuttle mentioned most of the same kind of guys I was looking at. I really do like Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker in tournaments. I think you can throw he's mentioned the Twins-Indians games a couple of times. So, the guys on DraftKings who are right in that low 3K range, like Rosario and Kepler, they're pretty useful in a lot of builds. I don't really want to play too much in the mid tier in the outfield. Like it's fine, but it's not much better than the cheap tier. By mid tier, I'm talking like the $4,000 range on DraftKings. Like maybe Kyle Schwarber, certainly in tournaments I would play. But so many of these guys under 4K are just pretty much as good. So like I don't think you have to be playing $4,800 Charlie Blackmon. Yeah, it's great, but he's not more likely to score 20 points than Joey Gallo might score 40. And I the fact that Blackmon more likely gets 2 singles is just not relevant to me. And I'd rather just play even like Gregory Polanco for $2,700. Jackie Bradley for $2,900. These are DraftKings prices. Like there's plenty of cheap upside to kind of fill in lineups and make it so you can play Bauer and you can play 1 or 2 expensive bats, mostly in the infield.
Okay. Seems simple enough. We got to talk about some of these stacks because obviously everyone's talking about Coors, but I'm sure there are plenty of other good stacks. Cheese, you mentioned it's basically Coors, and then there's a whole bunch tied after that. But what ones are you looking at most in GPPs?
Yeah, so I would put the Nationals, the Padres. I don't think the Padres were going to be popular anyway, and then Machado's not playing. I still really do like the Padres. everything else is just kind of there. And I don't love it. Like I can't give you another one. I guess sort of the Brewers. And that's really it. Otherwise, I'm just kind of throwing a few of this and that in multi-entry. But that's kind of my focus.
Tuttle, favorite stacks? You got anything off the board for me?
Yeah, I mean, the Minnesota stack would be the most off the board for me in terms of lower end stuff. Mentioned them, mentioned Cleveland, mentioned KC. The other kind of off the board stack that I don't think that many people will be on and I could get behind, Chicago against St. Louis and Carlos Martinez. I think they could be a pretty decent low owned stack as well.
All right, Tuttle, I'm putting you on the spot. A guy that you are most overweight the field on, your conviction play, your guy where if he smashes tonight, you're making money.
Krylov for the Twins.
Cheese, same question to you.
You're going to like it, Roth. It's Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, guy's so good. I mean, is he the chalk? He's got to be the most owned player of the night.
You would think if you were playing all the entries. No.
It's crazy because all the guy does is mash home runs and then strike people out. At least that's all I'm aware of. He walks people too, I guess. Cheese has informed me. All right, guys, guess what? We've got, 15 questions? 15 minutes, Devin, until lock? That is correct. So that gives us 15 minutes to take questions. We're going to be taking these questions both from the Discord and from the YouTube chat, and we'll kind of be alternating, guys, so stay on your toes. We'll go with Manny taking over to start, Cheese. He says, in 3 max, how much Coors is too much Coors?
So honestly, in 3 max, I would either have all 3 or none. And I would lean honestly towards none.
Wow, that is not the answer I expected, but I love it. Weeble says, FanDuel Cash, Yelich or Marte? Tuttle?
Oh, that's Yelich for me.
Achilles says, hey, Cheese, permission to stop playing Andrew Vaughn? Permission granted?
Yeah, he's just really cheap. But yeah, like you don't need, there's no one that you need to play tonight.
Timmy Tebow with a DK Cash question for you, Tuttle. It is Kane or Rosario?
Rosario. I know the bat likes Kane quite a bit. I definitely prefer Rosario and even those Minnesota guys over Kane.
All right. Max says, what about San Fran bats? Did you guys mention San Fran at all?
Against Bauer.
I think that's literally the only team that I X'd out.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
They hopefully got all their runs out yesterday.
I mean, they're a good team, but on a 15-game slate with
exactly
really 1 ace or 2 aces, I don't think you need to play against Bauer.
That's what I would say. Like, there's like getting leverage on a team, and then like a 15-game slate where you just don't have to worry about ownership that much. And a 15-game slate where a ton of the ownership is going to be concentrated in one area.
Right. That makes sense. All right. Alan says, Cheese, what are your Gallo thoughts?
I mean, honestly, you just always play a little bit of the guy in large field tournaments and know more often than not, you're getting nothing. But you're going to get a lot of 2 home run nights at low ownership.
Okay.
He strikes out, but the home runs are going to be there.
All right. Ted says the Rangers are going to tattoo this guy. Do you agree, Tuttle?
I need Cheese to give me a scouting report on Ivey.
Yeah, he's actually, I mean, every Astros prospect is good. This is another
that's
good
what I was reading too.
He was pretty darn dominant at AA. We don't know. Like, he's made 1 start above AA. Yeah. And with all of these kids, like there's just no way to know. I expect him to be pretty good once or twice through the order, and I think that's all he gets. So I really don't love the Rangers as a stack. I just have a little bit of Gallo and maybe a little bit of Nate Lower Calhoun.
All right, great. We'll go to Luke Cage, Tuttle, DKGPP. A Texas stack versus a rookie pitcher. So are you doing it, Tuttle, I guess?
Yeah, no, I'm with Cheese there and more of like guys, maybe 1, 2, 3 guys, not a full out stack.
All right. MHD says your favorite punt at pitcher for a DK GPP? Cheese, I'll let you go first, but you can both answer this one.
That's definitely Randy Dobnak for me.
Tuttle, you got a different one?
That's where my hot take would come in with Kaprelian for the A's.
Great. All right. Crossover King says, Tuttle, in a FanDuel 1,800 person 3-max, Twins or an Indian stack?
I like the Twin side personally.
Great. Prodigy says, FanDuel GPP, Vaughn or Santander?
Vaughn.
Great. A reminder to everyone that coming up after lock, we've got Big Brain Trivia going on. So download the Big Brain app now. It's easy to get registered, and you get 100% deposit bonus or deposit match on your first $50. So download that now, and we'll get into some trivia later. Back to the questions. Zenster, this one directed at Cheese. He says, how much do you think Machado's absence affects Tatis?
I would say absolutely zero, because they still have, like, while Machado's getting the day off, Hosmer's back, and Hosmer and then Nola are hitting after Tatis. So, like, he still has plenty of line of protection. I'm just as much on Tatis personally.
The contest, by the way, Rotogrinders presents the NBA. So if you think you have NBA knowledge, go ahead, join in. Starts in 34 minutes. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Tuttle, in the meantime, BHB says DK Cash, Yelich Vaughn or Rosario Kepler?
You got to ask me the ones like I'm Rosario Kepler. You got to keep asking me the Cleveland, Minnesota ones that I know I love them more than most people.
That's fine. You stick with it. BHB said, Roth, you skipped me, but he didn't realize that I realized I skipped him and then went back and asked his question as he was typing that, because I'm good that way. So you can type your apologies. MA says, what are your thoughts on using either Hoffman or Ivey in large field GPPs? Do you prefer one over the other, or just avoid entirely and go to Dobnak?
I think you can take some shots on Ivey.
All right. Another one directed at Cheese. Cheese, you got to choose. Your opponent is some jerk from Reddit. One of these guys to get more points. Acuna or Soto?
Soto.
RK says, Tuttle, do you have a better pick at FanDuel Util other than the White Sox Abreu?
Better pick at the Util spot. What's Abreu? 30. He's not even in the lineup, is he? 3,500.
He's back.
He's back. Go to Jordan would be the guy right there that I would take over him.
All right. Cheese, what are your thoughts on Upton and DK Cash as the last piece? Looks like the bat is trying to jam him in.
Yeah, he's one of those whole bunch of guys in that price range that's totally fine. I'm not personally on him, but there's not much difference between him and the other people there.
All right. DK Cash, NBA Live, Madrigal and Luis Arias or Brandon Rogers and Rosario?
It's number 2.
Okay, and this is a follow-up, but same, but different. Achilles says DK Cash, Arias, or Rogers?
I like Arias.
Achilles says, Tuttle, do you know if Eddie Rosario is alive or not? I was planning on using him as the last man in on FanDuel tonight.
I sure hope so. I know he hasn't been hitting that great this season, but love the matchup. And he's cheap enough where I think he's perfectly fine on DK. And even as that utility spot on FanDuel too.
All right. Max says, where are we fitting in these Yankees bats? Cheese, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, I think they're one of those big group of teams that's pretty fantastic to throw in some of these guys in tournaments. I don't love them as a stack just because it's a good pitcher and a good bullpen, but it's the Yankees. I'm kind of just filtering in a little bit of guys like Voit and Judge and Urshela and Torres. So the good news is you don't have to worry about ownerships. You can just play the best bats if you're playing them. But I would lean more kind of mini stacks with power.
All right, great. Matt says, is a White Sox versus lefties lineup going a bit under the radar today?
It could be. I mean, it's a good hitter's park too, obviously.
All right, we'll jump back on over to the Discord. Morning. What was that? 6 minutes?
6 minutes.
Okay, yeah. We've got roughly 6 minutes until baseball lock, and that means 31 minutes until Rotogrinders presents NBA trivia on the Big Brain app. Cheese, you're going to partake in this, right?
Oh yeah, I love trivia. I do not plan to finish anywhere above last in NBA trivia, but I've enjoyed it every week, and I'm going to enjoy it this week.
Here's the question. Who has the better odds in NBA trivia, me or Cheese? Like, Tuttle, who would you take, me or Cheese?
Take you, Roth.
Really?
You talk all the time about how much you love the NBA.
I do
Right.
love hoops, but you're just a sports nut.
Here's the thing: you guys are going to be underwhelmed with my lack of like if it's historical NBA,
I'm out.
Yeah, I don't stand much of a
Yeah.
chance either.
Yeah, if it's anything before,
I'm actually
like,
probably
95.
better the older it gets.
Yeah, see, Cheese is going to take us
Right,
both to the
Cheese-
cleaners, I think.
All right, back to some of these questions here. Morning Napalm says, Cheese, single entry, Soto, Paddock, or Sano Minor?
No, minor.
Let's see. Tuttle, what are your thoughts on Tampa Bay on FanDuel? They cheap.
Tampa Bay on FanDuel, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
all
fine.
right. Matt says, Cheese, you okay with an Arizona stack without Marte if it means getting Bauer?
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, I like it. All right. DK Cash, Tuttle, Yelich or Blackman?
I do think it's Yelich. I'll ask Cheese though. Do you have any concerns with how bad his back has been this season, or how are you approaching Yelich?
I do have a little bit of concern, enough that I would lean Blackman for now.
All right. J Sam says, Cheese, FanDuel, Pinder, Tucker, or Varsho and Pham. P.S. This lineup has no Oakland bats, but is stacked with Padres. Pinder, Tucker, or Varsho, Pham.
It would definitely be Pinder Tucker in a tournament for me.
Infamous says Coors Cash. Can I answer that one? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, there you go. Nailed it.
Yeah. Sean says Cards versus Hendricks. He seems to alternate good starts with bad ones, so maybe he had a good one last time.
There is a pattern there, but I don't think it's a predictable pattern.
Right. Okay. Chris says, DKGPP, what are your thoughts, Cheese, on a top of the order red stack?
I think it's good. The Reds are a team I actually prefer to stack than not, with kind of the way Hauser is, because I don't want those righties on their own, but in a stack, yes, I'm good with that.
All right. We'll go to BHB, DK Cash, Pavin Smith or Tapia?
Pavin Smith for me.
The Pharaoh, FanDuel Cash, you got about 2 minutes to lock, which means we've got about 28 minutes until... No, I did the math wrong. No, I did the math right. 28 minutes until we get some trivia, some NBA trivia going on here. The Pharaoh says, FanDuel Cash, Marte, Blackman, and Pavin Smith versus Yelich, Jose Ramirez, and Tapia.
Marte, Blackman, Pavin.
KM says, any interest in Danny Santana leading off at 2-1? Oh, yeah. But do you guys?
He's not available on FanDuel, so I assume this is a DraftKings question.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I mean, obviously the matchup, I don't think you need it. Not a great matchup. There's plenty of cheap options. I don't think he's necessary. I also don't think he's like a terrible tournament option.
Okay. Garrett over in the YouTube chat says, any interest in Alex Wood tonight on DK?
I X'd him out personally.
Okay. MB says, DKGPP Tuttle, Anderson over Bauer, or am I getting too cute?
I prefer Bauer. I don't think it's too cute. I don't think it's a bad play.
Okay, yeah. I don't think it's, it's a GPP, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. We've actually, guys, caught up on all the questions. If you have a question, you've got about a minute to get it in so that we can answer it and get it back to you. But we actually caught up on all the questions in both the Discord and the YouTube chat. So good work, gentlemen.
Good work to you, Gentle sir.
Boom.
I mean, all I do is read the questions. You guys put in the hard work. I did to prep us for the trivia. Manny taking over says, is Paddock okay in a 3 max cheese?
On FanDuel, yes.
I did. While we were doing this, I came up with 5 ocean-themed trivia questions to whet our palate for NBA trivia.
I love ocean trivia. That's also
Well,
not good.
Who doesn't?
I love it. Yeah, exactly.
It's, we're talking some sharks. We're talking crabs. It's going to be a good time here coming up. J Sam says, QQ, Tuttle, Cronenworth or Albies over on FanDuel?
Albies.
All right. No more questions over on the YouTube there. Ooh, we're coming up on the lock. And here we go. Timmy Tebow says, DK Cash, Upton or JBJ?
That's Jackie Bradley Jr. The correct answer is Upton. I would play JBJ.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of one of those weird ones.
No, I like when that's the case. I feel like I would definitely play your guy when that's the case, just for what it's worth. I hope you know that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Cozy says DK Cash, Tapia or Smith. It might be too late. I don't know what time that game locks.
No, that's later. Smith for me.
Sweet. Okay. All right. We're going to look at some ownership here in a little bit. We'll pull up some lineup HQ. We'll talk about the slate. We're going to take more questions. This is also a good time to get in some strategy questions, especially you guys who are watching free on YouTube. You can literally pick the minds of 2 great MLB DFSers right now. So if you have strategy questions,
and feel free to pick your mind as well.
That's true, especially if it's about oceanography and creatures of the ocean in general. It's a specialty of mine. So we'll get into that a bit. Now is also a good time to download the Big Brain app for our trivia that starts in 24 minutes. Trivia contest category is NBA. I think it's going to be really fun. I feel like this is a good category for me. This is way better than any category we've had so far. So
you mean you don't have to compete against Meansy
in Duke basketball?
In Duke basketball.
Yeah, that was $10 quickly wasted there. By the way, this tournament is $10. Not only if you win do you get bragging rights, not only do you get money, because Big Brain is like DFS only with trivia. So you're entering a tournament. The better you do, the more money you make. So if you come first, you get the first place prize, and then so on and so forth.
All right. I think I'm in.
Wait real quick. Let me finish this thought.
Oh, sorry.
You also get free premium for a month if you win. So you get Rotogrinders premium for a month if you win, which is a pretty good deal on top of the money.
If I win this thing, I'm going to be able to read my own article. I've heard they're great, but I cannot confirm.
They are fantastic. Tuttle, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had to finish that.
No, I was wondering. I don't know if this was like a Midwest thing. There used to be a restaurant, and it wasn't Buffalo Wild Wings, that did this trivia. And it was when I was growing up, and exactly like this Big Brain trivia. Obviously not money on the line, but it would always be where I'd go for my birthday because I loved doing the trivia. And it's the exact same trivia where it like gives you hints and the clock counts down and blah, blah, blah. And it was this restaurant.
Beef O'Brady's?
No, they don't have those there. They might. Right. I mean, I'm sure more than one restaurant does this.
Right.
Does the trivia game, but it was this. It starts with a D if I remember, but I can't remember the name. And it was awesome, and I loved it.
If someone in the chat knows the Midwestern restaurant that may or may not start with a D, where they do trivia or did do trivia,
I'm pretty sure it's the restaurant is no more. It was a chain though.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll see. We'll give the chat some time. We also still have more questions coming in, so let's get to those real quick. Tuttle BHB says DK Cash, your boy Rogers and Pavin, or Arias and Kepler.
Gosh, Arias and Kepler, and that's the projections will not say that, but that's what I say.
Okay. Joey Rocks, a strategy question. Cheese, I do well with single lineups, and I keep compiling tickets on FanDuel. Then when I play 10 plus lineups, I can't get things right. Any advice? My advice would be keep playing single lineups, but maybe Cheese has better advice than that.
I mean, it's kind of hard to know exactly what you might be switching up. I would say don't think of it as you have 10 lineups. Just think of it as you have one lineup and you do it. And then, oh, look, I have another lineup, but it's just this one lineup, and do it. Don't try to put all 10 together and go, I want 20% of this guy, and just build your lineup and then build your next one. If they're different, great. If they're the same, great.
Title?
Somebody said it in YouTube chat. Damon's.
Wow.
That was it. I love that place.
I'm glad we opened this up to the YouTube. That's amazing. Good
Never
job,
heard of it.
YouTube chat. Yeah, literally never heard of it. Okay, that's interesting advice, Cheese. That's not what I expected you to say. I thought you would say, make sure you don't go over 40% a certain guy, but you just build the 10 best lineups you think you can build, basically.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, yes, you're supposed to spread out your ownership after a certain point, but you should do that naturally if you're just building your line, because you're not going to build literally the exact same lineup.
Right.
But I think it's very easy for people who usually make one. It's really easy to start overthinking when you make more and oh, I can't do that. Should I play him again? Yeah, just play it again. Just make another lineup and pretend it's just the one you're making.
Okay.
And the nerdy take would probably be like, you probably don't have a big enough sample to say you're necessarily doing anything wrong.
Right. That's what I was thinking too.
Definitely might be fine. Tuttle, what's going on your shirt there? Can you move up just slightly?
Oh,
is it a Mario character? That's what I thought I was seeing.
No, it's a sloth dressed as the Flash.
Fantastic. That's what I was hoping.
I thought it was like a Goomba from Mario, just looking at the top of it, but no.
No, sloth dressed as the Flash.
That is excellent. Yeah, you got.
Wait, Dame. You know what? I think I might have been to a Damon's. I'm gonna have to Google this now.
Yes, I mean they were awesome. I can't really speak to the food. I would always just pick to go there for my birthday because I love the trivia.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to take it back. I've been to Damon's.
Oh, there you go.
And it has been in the Midwest. I'm certain that it was in northern Indiana when I went. I can remember vague details now. They're coming back to me. Yes. Oh,
I remember the location I went to was very dimly lit.
I had lights in the one I went to.
Yeah. And probably back then, like smoking was allowed in the restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And not just allowed, but encouraged. You walked in and had to clear the smoke a bit. All right, guys, a few more of these questions still coming in. So let's get to a few of these. Jay, I love this question, says, being that this is literally the largest slate possible, do you still 5-man stack in general? For single entry tournaments, do you play same lineup or do you differentiate? I didn't really understand the second half of that question, but do you still 5-man stack in general on a huge slate? Cheese, you can go first.
More often than not, yes.
Tuttle?
I do.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
And I'm showing Slate IQ too. We have that up. We run that every day on RG. Eric Beimford does that for us. You can see even on a massive slate like this, 5-3 has the highest leverage on the slate. It's a 5-3 type of stack on DK.
Okay, great. Matt says, any concerns about Seattle, San Diego tonight? Report from someone from the Mariners traveling party tested positive for COVID.
Personally, no concern because they put the lineup out. If they hadn't had a lineup out yet, I would be a little worried. But at this point, I'm assuming it plays.
All right. Tuttle, I usually do 3 max and single entry. Would you recommend on using lineup HQ for building those, or should I try to hand build?
Man, honestly, it's personal preference. At this point in time, I can't do anything without using lineup HQ. I just like running optimizers and kind of sorting through there, and it's easier for me to weed things out that way. Mm-hmm. But honestly, that's just personal comfort based on how you prefer making lineups.
I also single entry and 3 max only, and I'm all about the hand build.
There you go.
You
don't need a computer.
I don't need that. I am a computer. Wait till you see my oceanography knowledge. Right off the dome. Right off the dome. 5 questions. Tom says, DK Cash, pick 1. Oh, it's a 2v2v2. So Cheese, Crone and Smith, Crone and Tapia, Smith and Tapia.
Crone and Smith.
Mochi says, DK Cash, Willie Calhoun or Upton's?
Upton.
Oh, honestly, a lot of people in the chat, I'm just getting here now, knew it was Damon's and are very excited that a Damon's reference got dropped here. We got to bring this place back, man. We'll be doing
It was good, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Deuteronomy with another strategy question. Cheese. Assuming you use lineup HQ for MME on Fanduel for pitchers, what is your process? Do you crop your player pool, then enter a max exposure, or is it a different process? If so, how? Thank you.
Yes,
I don't understand that question at all.
He actually asked it very well.
Nice.
So yes, so the first thing I do is X out a whole bunch of pitchers. The second thing I do is I change the projections to match how I want them. So that the guy I want the most, like basically I just have to often change the projections to get them in the order I want them. And then I do put min and max on every pitcher. It very much depends on the slate. Sometimes I'll be as much as, 50 or 60% minimum on a guy with no max. I'll be fine to lock a guy. A big slate like this, I don't think I have more than 50% of anybody. I didn't put a 50% max on Bauer, but I knew I wouldn't get more than that just because of the price. But yeah, so that is my process. X out a bunch of guys, get the projections where I want them, so it's going to give me who I want, and then put min max on them.
Okay, great. Real quick, guys, if you are interested in this Big Brain Trivia Contest, you still have time to sign up for Big Brain and get in the contest. A couple people, let's see, Alfredo says, hey, I'm waiting to be verified. Daniel says, it took 3 minutes for me. So usually it happens quickly. So you should still have time to get in, get verified, and join the Rotogrinders Presents NBA Trivia Contest. Going down in less than 15 minutes here. But in the meantime, we're going to open it up for questions. But since we've taken them all, it's time for oceanography.
Yes, ocean trivia.
Ocean trivia, especially ocean creatures, but not necessarily. Everyone in the YouTube and in the Discord, feel free to play along if you type in your answer before these guys. Kudos. Okay. How would you describe here, Tuttle and Cheese, how would you describe your knowledge of ocean and ocean creatures on a scale of 1 to 10?
-5.
A 5, Cheese?
-5.
Okay. All right. So you're both average oceaneers.
Tuttle's saying negative, like a negative.
Yeah, I realized after it kept making it sound like I was like mine.
Mine is 5, not -5. Wow. Okay. So, Cheese, we're giving you the advantage here. All right. We'll start with this question, gentlemen. What shark uses its abnormally long tail to stun its prey? Is it A, a thresher shark, B, a six-gill shark, C, a mako shark, or D, a basking shark? What shark uses its abnormally long tail to stun its prey? A thresher, a six-gill, a mako, or a basking? Guys?
Thresher. A.
Mako.
The answer is thresher shark. Jeez, coming through. Was that a lucky guess, or did you know that answer?
I love sharks. I love them am terrified of them. And I know some things about sharks, so I can know how to stay away from them.
Okay, that's excellent. By the way, I'm looking at the chat here. Woo! We had a few people get it right. We had a few people not so great. Okay, next up. This phrase refers to the measurement of the depth of a body of water. Is it underwater topography, bathymetry, 7-cup sounding, or sonography? Your choices again: underwater topography, bathymetry, 7-cup sounding, or sonography.
Sonography.
Yes, sir. Sonography.
No, the answer, I'm sorry, is bathymetry. I'm sorry, the answer is
Stop.
bathymetry.
It's sonography.
It is. It
I
is.
was actually
they do call it sonar when they go down and look at it.
Yes.
That's why
so I was very
question.
pleased when I came up with that fake word. Maybe it is a real word, but
it's a real word.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's Google sonography.
It's a medical procedure.
Yeah, I'm Googling sonography. Hang on. We're gonna make sure this isn't a real word, otherwise you guys are all right. Sonography. No, it's a medical. Okay.
Yeah, it's a medical procedure.
No, it's the sonar that, to see if your wife is pregnant or not. Your wife is pregnant.
But it's also sonar to see, where do we want to stop to go fishing?
Absolutely. That's the thing. That's why I
All
use
chat
that
is
term
saying
to throw you.
D2, by the way.
Well, I
You
fooled
tricked
all of
you
chat.
tricked a lot of
I
people.
got you. You got to be ready. I'm trying to prepare you because Big Brain comes with some straightforward and they come with some trickies. So you got to get ready. You got to be on your toes here. All right. Question number 3. What is the fastest shark? This is right up Cheese's alley. What is the fastest shark in the sea? Is it A, a great white, B, a spinner shark, C, a mako shark, or D, a whale shark? I'll give you the answers one more time.
All right.
The fastest shark in the sea, is it a great white, a spinner shark, a mako shark, or a whale shark?
I'm going to go Mako on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with what I guessed for the first one and hope I get it right this time. Mako shark.
You're right. It is. You're both correct. It is a mako shark.
Boom.
Some people in the chat were all over that, by the way. Excellent work. Let me pull up the YouTube chat. Make sure. They're doing all right. They're doing all right over there. Okay. All right. The topic is now whales. The question is, Cheese and Tuttle, what is the deepest diving whale? Is it a sperm whale, a blue whale, a humpback whale, or a killer whale? Again, your choices here. And Cheese, you don't get to answer first this time because I know you may be we're going to put Tuttle on the spot. Is it a sperm whale, a blue whale, a humpback whale, or a killer whale? The deepest diving whale of those 4.
Sperm, duh.
Did you?
Humpback.
I feel like Tuttle Googled that for sure.
I said it because that's always the whale we would just say because it's the funny name.
Yeah.
What's funny about it?
But I don't understand what's so funny. The answer is yes. The answer is the sperm whale.
Yes.
Famously deep diving. And I think they dive down super deep and they eat like octopus and squid, like giant squid way in the depths. That's what they eat.
Squid in the depths.
Squid in the depths.
That's deep diving sperm whale.
That is, and that's how my wife got pregnant. All right. Hey, guess what? That was a good way to kill roughly 5 minutes.
I got some more time to kill.
We still have 8 minutes to kill. I actually left off one of the questions because it was too ridiculous. So that's how Big Brain works. Only if you were good, like Cheese. I think Cheese would have won this. No offense, Tuttle.
Yeah, he would have.
He had you beat. He would have A, made a bunch of money, B, gotten a month of Rotogrinders premium, and C, had the swag, had the DAP, been able to walk around and say, I was the winner of Roth's Oceanography Challenge on the Big Brain game. So that's what you have to look forward to. You still have time if you want to download the Big Brain app. You probably have time. We've got 20 people in NBA trivia.
Oh, so how much money does that mean I'm going to make?
Let's see.
0.
Actually,
it means the same as if we had 2 people in it. Dan.
Exactly. I think I was only good at the trivia at Damon's because I was like very fast at switching my wrong answer that I originally guessed.
Because do they give
that's
you
a
hints?
skill of its own.
Yeah.
They give you hints, and so I would be very fast.
Get slowly, more obvious with the hints. In Big Brain, you only get one hint, and it's not always. Sometimes
that's going to be rough then. Yeah, I'm not gonna do
sometimes
very well.
the hint actually tricks you and gets you off of the right answer. So you got to be a little careful.
Last week they had a bunch of double negative questions. Like
so many.
That was tough.
Oh, they tried to.
Which one is not one of these?
Yeah.
Like, wait, that's one of those.
Which one of these is not responsible for not doing this? I was like, wait, that got me.
That sounds mean.
Yeah, it was. It got me, but I feel good about NBA. Let's see who we got here. We got a level 9. We got Hampton. We got NYG fan. We got Cheese. You got me. Tuttle, you're in this. Yep, there you are. Gaspar.
Yeah, that's me.
Joey Rock. We got some RGers in here. And
Am I supposed to change my name? Can I change my name?
I mean,
yeah.
You should. You should do Mr. Tuttle or something. I changed mine to Kevin Roth WX.
I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
I put this in Slack when I did it. I was creating my name. I put cheese is good, and it flagged it for being inappropriate and profane language. So I'm cheese, which they were fine with. So I guess is good is profane.
Yeah, it's the is good part that just went too
Okay,
far.
there we go. I'm on there, Mr. Tuttle 05.
There you go.
Updated.
All right.
Oh well, we can add a photo too. Let's see.
Yeah, cheese has what is that? Tweety bird.
It's a little piece of cheese with a baseball bat.
It's a piece of cheese with it. Is that a logo you often use, or did you just?
No,
find
I
it
just
for
found
this?
it. Yeah, that's the first time
good
I'd seen that one.
Are you considering making that like kind of your go-to?
I might have to
Avatar?
hire an artist to make me a special piece of cheese playing
Right.
baseball that would
You
be
should.
my little logo.
Right. It's pretty amazing that existed. It's quite perfect for you.
It's amazing what exists on the image search on Google. Like, let me see if there's a piece of cheese with a baseball bat. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
several
there
to
you go.
choose from.
Oh man. And then there's I think it's called Fiverr, where
Yes.
you can pay
Yes, that's what I was
someone
gonna say.
not a ton of money, and they'll design an image for you, a graphic designer. Like, all right, I'll do that for $30 or whatever. And they
Well,
will
you know
make
the name Fiverr is because
it's $5 minimum though, right?
but that, I mean, back when the site originated, that was it.
Right. I
It's
don't
all like
know if
$5.
that's I've never actually used it. I don't know. I just imagine that people got tired of doing work for only $5. Hey. Of course we're well, I was gonna say I'm losing $10 working.
Yeah, I
but
was
I'm
gonna
about
say,
to win. So,
Yeah, I know.
I would
Where
rather
do we?
draw a picture for $5 than give all of you $10 for NBA trivia. But this is good.
Oh man.
Where do we get comped if we lose this? Do we
I don't
send
know.
the check to Dan Bach? Is
I
that
think
what we
so.
do?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think he's got us
Dan
covered.
has actually offered to cover all this double.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
He's
I'll help him
doubling the 50% deposit bonus, so it's actually get
Yeah.
double.
Just send him a message on Twitter, everyone. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this is for echoes for everyone playing.
Yeah. Yeah, I deposited $20 and they give you $20. They give you 100%,
Yep.
which is awesome. And I had $40 and I was like, this is a lot. But if I lose today,
and then you don't have it anymore.
yeah, if I lose, it's all gone. So I need to win this one.
Yeah, I'm
So I
still
can keep going.
losing with house money here, so I'm okay for a couple
Right.
more weeks.
Good. Because did you ever cash?
No.
Oh, no.
I finished ahead of you. That's way not
Yeah,
the same as
That's
cashing.
right.
Hey, there's a chain restaurants one going up at 7:45. Maybe they have a Damon's question on there.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Everyone, we're all going to get that one right.
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh,
let's see what else they
Metallica
have.
trivia. I don't know any Metallica.
Yeah, me
but,
neither.
that's a great category.
The Fresh Prince
Rookies.
of Bel Air is another good one.
Yeah. Spicy foods.
Oh, Gilmore Girls. That's got Roth all over it right there.
I've never
The
seen
one day my wife and my daughter are not here, they have Gilmore Girls trip. Like we could have cleaned up. They
Right.
watched that whole show start to finish.
Oh, and that would have been such good family bonding too. That
yeah,
would've been
it would.
amazing. We've got M&M. I might enter the M&M tournament at 7:15.
Like the candy or the music?
The music, the candy.
Okay. Both would be great.
Right,
Got to watch 8 Mile before I play it though.
right. Classic arcade games. There's a category called cheese.
Oh,
Oh,
There's a
he's
category
got to
called
enter
cheese.
that one.
there's
No,
actually
it's
almost
chess.
nothing that I know less about.
It's chess.
Yeah,
Go farther down. There's also cheese.
No, I don't believe you.
I swear. Yeah,
Ooh,
the odd thing about
wow.
cheese is that you don't actually love cheese.
don't love it. Don't know much about it.
Oh my gosh.
All right. It says starting now, guys. So let's get on into this. Starting in less than 2 minutes. Whose screen share is up? Is it Tuttle's? Yeah.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Do you
No,
feel
this-
nervous?
Is it?
Because if you do stupid things,
Well,
Tuttle.
it's supposed to be DBs or cheeses eventually.
I think it's mine.
Oh, okay.
Has it,
And
all right, it's swapped
So-
over.
don't feel like you need to cheat off mine because I am not going to know.
All right.
Oh, so I can bring up different things on my computer now.
Yes. You can.
You can look up the answers. Yes,
can
I know,
try.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have a admission that I told Devin the message he sent this morning that said we were doing a swap live on air, I just decided not to read the live swap part, and that's why I was all scattered brain to start this show.
Oh, when you came in, it's always. I didn't know. I didn't know.
I was
either.
like, what's going on?
Like I read it and I still didn't realize I was definitely coming into a live show. That's
Yes, I reread and I'm like, how did I not see? He says live. We're swapping on air.
Yeah.
Did not read that.
That could mean a lot of things.
Right.
In your defense. I'm not sure what they all are. But.
Okay, guys, 30 seconds here. Cheese, do you feel nervous? Are you embarrassed?
I'm terrified.
Because if you put in something stupid, everyone can see. And they'll be like, wow, I thought Cheese was smart. But...
Yeah, there's less pressure.
Except, I mean, like I'm here telling you, I am not.
Right.
Like you couldn't be more wrong about my smartness level if that's what you think.
All right. 15 seconds. Get a little nervous.
But definitely I'm rooting for more old school questions where I might be at a similar knowledge level. If it's
late
new
90s,
stuff,
baby.
Late 90s and on, mid 90s and on, I'll crush.
Go. Starting.
Oh, this is a 50-50, by the way. I just saw. Oh, no, it's not.
No,
it's not. I lied. This is a
75 to first place.
$75 for your boy coming in.
Yeah, I know what I'm going to make now. That's good to know.
Hot.
One of 12.
All right, 12 questions.
Oh, I've seen that guy for sure.
You actually have to type it out.
I could have gotten it if they'd given me choices.
I think I got it.
Oh,
Yes.
I mistyped it.
Yep,
I misspelled it.
I got it, baby.
I'm gonna type some letters. Ooh,
That's Scott Brooks. That's Scott
I know.
Brooks.
I actually knew it, and I typed books, and it didn't enter, and I was like, "Why is it not going?" And I just typed books, not Brooks.
I have seen that guy before. I did not know.
Boom.
Brutal. That typo just cost me 1,000 points, man. It's okay. I'm gonna rebound.
I only got 802. I didn't type it fast enough.
That's sad. We're sad for you.
I mean,
I'm gonna be mad if
It's got to be right.
What? It's not. I definitely did not go with the same answer as Cheese.
It's got to be Shaq, right?
It's got to be.
Shaq definitely made some threes. Oh, come on. I thought that was gonna be a trick question.
I just saw a highlight of Barkley hitting a 3 today, so that made me feel pretty good that it wasn't him.
At least I've heard of all those guys. I win something.
And the people are too sharp.
I know. They don't miss, man.
No, it's him.
It's one of the top two, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Paul George. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, that's what
I already have it in there. Like,
yeah,
I felt good if I had it that quick.
Yeah.
It's that doesn't mean it's right, but I was pretty sure I knew that.
I only got 868 though.
Well, I'm better.
Yeah, I'm not getting 1,000 on these. This is my problem.
I'm getting close to the money here, boys.
Dude, there's so many everyone's nailing it exactly.
Yeah, I'm actually not very close to the money now that I look at it. And I haven't gotten one wrong yet.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, come on with this. This is not helping.
The typing is not.
Wait,
it's kind of tough. You know him.
Who is that?
3-point shooter. No, he doesn't still play. He might be a coach somewhere now.
He just not look familiar.
In Marley, but it's not Dan Marley.
It's Miller. It's Mike Miller.
Mike,
but it took me too long still.
In the NBA?
Yeah, but I bet a lot of people didn't get that one right.
No, I only moved up one. Everybody is nailing this. This is unbelievable.
These people know they're NBA,
too sharp.
man.
I do not understand these questions.
All right.
See, this is where I don't know.
Okay, I feel pretty good about this one.
Oh, let's go, baby.
Yeah, well, you and your Houston ties.
I have no Houston ties. I moved here like 2 years ago.
See, that's more my speed. 1984. Yeah, I actually followed a little basketball when I was 10 years old.
If we can get more of those, I'll crush.
Hakeem the Dream. I can't get higher than 11th place.
Have you seen highlights of Hakeem? Because he was so good. He was
Amazing.
so ridiculously good.
Oh, come on. This is easy, right?
I think.
I know two of them are. I don't know about the other two.
Yeah, I know two are.
So then it's not easy.
No,
I got it.
no way.
Ooh, Tuttle. Oh, Tuttle. I'm coming for you, Tuttle.
Kyrie's from Australia?
What?
Good eye, mate.
I would have never
No
guessed that. I didn't even
way.
know who to switch to. I was so flabbergasted.
Oh, I got that one right, baby. We're
His
climbing the
accent
ranks.
gives it away.
I had no idea Kyrie was from Australia.
I don't think that's true.
Nope. Oh, come on.
Okay, so where did Muggsy Bogues go to college?
Oh,
ACC doesn't
I mean,
narrow it
narrows
down to 2.
That's
I don't
Wake
know.
or North Carolina State.
hey, I'm so good at NBA trivia.
See, you had
Complete.
to know not only that Muggsy Bogues was the shortest, but then they gave you that. Like, that didn't even help.
It narrowed
Who
it
didn't
down
help?
to 2.
All right. If you happen to know ACC schools, which
Bro, I don't stand a chance. Yeah, no idea.
oh, it's got to be the Bulls or the Pacers, but
I picked Bulls. I don't know if it's
I
right
picked
though.
Bulls too.
It's in the Eastern Conference, so it's Bulls or Pacers. That doesn't narrow it down again, right?
Be the Bulls. Be Chicago. Chicago's such an old team, yeah.
Yes.
There we go. What are you ranked right
We
now?
are
Tuttle?
also excited.
I am.
Oh, into the top 20 here.
I'm 13th.
I'm 14th. I'm right behind you.
Oh, you're
I think there's like
coming for
22
you.
people, but I'm in the top 20.
I don't think I have a chance to hit the payouts though.
Don't lose to me, Tuttle.
I have no idea, to be honest.
Probably a trick question.
I think so too. The chief?
Switched answer.
I don't know who the chief is.
You don't know who the chief
Aha!
is?
Again, you should be a
Oh,
little older. That's
Yes.
my time.
Sucks to be young.
I got it right. Boom. Guessed it. Perfect. 1,000 points.
No
Take
way.
that, chief.
That is pretty lucky.
Jump 3 spots with the full 1,000
I
there.
need Celtics nickname trivia. I would have gotten.
Tuttle,
that
you're
one.
so close to the money. No joke.
many-
You're like
how
10
many do I
points
need?
away.
All
You're
right,
like
come on.
10 points behind the
You
money.
need a perfect score on all 3.
Come on. Never had a quadruple. I don't.
That was easy. That was easy. That was easy. That was easy. That
No,
was
it
easy.
wasn't.
Yeah, it is. It's not him. Cheese, change it. I have no idea if it's that guy.
I don't have. That's top guy, huh?
See, that's kind of trick.
It's
question,
Magic.
'cause You would think,
I
oh,
knew
it's got to
that
be
one.
him.
I thought it was. That's the only reason why I tricked Magic.
What's the fourth part of a quadruple double?
A
Whatever
block,
you want it to be.
usually
A block?
blocks or steals, but yeah.
See, I would have thought he probably got steals.
No, I'm in 11th. I'm further away from the prize. How many people get money?
Like the top 9 or 10 maybe.
All right, come on.
Man, I should have just given you that answer, Tuttle, so you could cash. We could have split it.
I think I know this one.
Is
I
it the
think
block?
I know it.
Is it Mavs?
I think it's Mavs.
Shit.
Yes. Yes.
Shoot.
Boom!
On YouTube.
1,000,
Oh,
baby.
that cost me. If I'd have gotten that one right, I think Bobcats. We're all gonna finish just outside the money. except
Moving on
Cheese.
up. I'm gonna go the top 18. Here we come, baby.
I'm 10th, baby. Come on.
Tuttle, you're so close.
This is the last question?
You have. Come on, Tuttle.
Yeah, I need to beat the A
Yeah,
Panther.
you're so close.
12 out of 12. Come on. Oh, I think I know this.
This just happened, didn't it?
This just happened, right? Yes.
I think
it-
so.
It just happened. No.
Oh,
No, I thought it was TJ.
I didn't.
But that wasn't a playoff game.
Oh, did
Oh,
they
It said
say-
playoff.
reading comprehension failure? Dang it.
All right.
Let's
Well,
see.
that just cost us the money, Tuttle.
The new
Did
big
it?
brain is
Nice.
Howerton,
I got the money, baby.
Yes,
Boom.
Tuttle. Good
See?
job.
See, and you know what it was? I was quicker changing the answer.
That
Boom.
did it.
It's the
definitely
skill
gives
that
me
has-
the option to share results. Yes, I want to share that I finished 19th.
Well, you did. Hey, I finished 12th. I was so close.
You were pretty. That kind of area was condensed.
Yeah. I mean, I was less than 1,000 points behind you. You made good money, Tuttle.
I doubled my
21
money.
bucks.
Doubled my money.
$21. By the way, our guy Hampton That's our guy, right?
Hampton.
That's a Discord guy.
He's done well every week, I believe.
Every week. What's his deal? Is he cheating or is he just really smart? Hampton,
It's.
what's your
I think
deal,
it,
bro?
I'm
it
offended that you
can't be
have to
cheating.
even ask.
Yeah.
You can't cheat in this game. At least not that
You
Dart-
could. You could.
Dardog's
but
a Discord
that's not
guy too.
That's not what's happening here.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Hey, I'm proud of you, Tuttle. I'm proud that you made the money.
It's because I guessed Chief right without knowing what his nickname was.
I know. If I'd have given you that quadruple double that I knew, we could have had you.
Magic.
Could have had you way up there. Yeah. Oof. Okay.
There you have it, friends.
There you have it. You guys down for another game of oceanography trivia before we go? No? All right.
You have one?
I do.
An inappropriate one though?
Yeah, no. I think we should end it on that. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Sadly,
That was enjoyable.
That is the best category probably that I could have gotten, and I did not make the money. So, and Howerton, if you're one of us, and Howerton, reach out to Devin on Twitter or reach out to us somehow, some way. Reach out to Rotogrinders and say, "Hey, I'm N Howerton 89." You'll have to prove it. So screen grab this because otherwise anybody could say that, and you will get a month of premium.
When I was a kid, a lot of people called me Noel Howerton, and that was in 1989 when that happened. And
So I'd like my month of premium now. All right. Hey, guys, that was fun. I enjoyed that. I always do. Always a good time. We do this every Friday. If you want to be a part of this, download the Big Brain app. It's a good time. If you watch this on YouTube and thought, that was pretty fun, these guys, they're all right. They're not bad people. Hit like, subscribe, and go ahead, sign up for Rotogrinders Premium. Getting $10 off your single, sport, or combo package for your first month if you sign up right now. With that said, for Tuttle, for Cheese, and for Devin, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crazy.